It's your time. No! Can you do this? He gets another. One more. The DBS under. Where are your shots?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the PUBG Mobile Pro League North America Fall Split 2023 Phase 3, Day 2. Yesterday was quite a dominance once again out of NHyper. Make sure you use the hashtag PMPL in social media to let us know what you guys thought of the performance from NHyper yesterday. Also, what you guys thought of the performance from YKG, because they didn't have one of the best days, and they actually hot drop NHyper. I'm hoping, which I really doubt, but I'm hoping that does happen here today. But before I continue on, let me introduce myself. I'm the Seven Worlds Gaming, and I'm going to be joined alongside none other than Cameron Davis, my amazing analyst. Cam, how are you doing today?
I'm just wondering why you're trying to throw YKG under the bus on the very first breath. Like, let's get into the show a little bit before we talk about that, because it's definitely going to come up, but it's like the second the lights turned on, you're like, welcome everyone, YKG had a bad day.
But, I mean, they did have a bad day. And I'm pretty sure, knowing them, the reason why I want to mention that is because it's going to be a completely different thing today. I would expect so, especially when we start seeing the overall for this week. Because, boy, you know what? Let's take a look at the overall just to see where they currently are. Because you're not going to be able to see them anywhere near the first page. NHyper there at the top with 56 points. And 412 NOMADS with 41 points.
Yeah, 41-2 NOMADS. I think they can't go a second in a row. Get 42 points 2 days in a row. That's what their namesake is. Okay, that one didn't work that well. We can workshop that one a little bit. But no, seriously though, 412 NOMADS in second place. There is already a developing gap between first and second with 15 points after 4 games each played. That's starting to look really scary. It's starting to look like NHyper might be repeating their Phase 2 dominance. But the fact that we see 412 NOMADS in second place in this top section again already is really exciting, especially when you compare how they played their games yesterday to their Phase 2 performance.
Yeah, and I mean, the way that they were able to get their chicken dinner, I thought at one point we were trying to figure out if that was the record so far this season. They ended up with 19 elims. It's not the record, but they got very, very close. Impressive performance out of them. I'm not expecting for them to get another 19 ilim chicken dinner here today, but if it happens, I would definitely not be mad. Now, Shrimp Slayers, that's a team that we're kind of wondering how they were going to be playing here on this Phase 3. And they started off with some good consistency. I mean, 4th place, 1st place, they got a chicken dinner, which is good for them to see that out of them on this first day, right, of Phase 3. And a big surprise for me, I actually thought, was MEZEXIS and Canadian Eagles. They started off hot.
Yeah, they did. Like, all these teams that we're seeing 4th through 8th are teams that you wouldn't necessarily expect to, without a doubt, be in this top 8 section. And I mean, part of that is because they did perform well yesterday. It's also because as we move further on into these rankings, we're going to start to see some of those names that we did expect to be up here not quite so high on the ranking on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and super lazy reflex. I mean, they were able to close out the day with that chicken dinner. We'll see if they're going to be able to carry any momentum from that. And here you go. When we get to this screen, before I even get to YKG, skills of mine, I mentioned it yesterday. I think halfway through the day, they were there within that first page. I'm tired of seeing this team going towards the bottom, so I'm hoping Skills of Mine does end up having somewhat of a good day, and we end up seeing them in the top 8, because that would be quite a surprise. In YKG, I mean, a 13-point performance, you don't want to see that out of YKG, but they were trying out a lot of different stuff, and I feel like they were focusing too much on trying to catch up to NHyper on the PMGC leaderboard.
I wouldn't even read into it that far. I just think it was a bad day. Whether that continues or not, I also can't say. But it was just a really rough day for them. Likely that they started off on the wrong foot, and it's really hard to recover, especially as you mentioned yesterday. YKG is one of the teams that they don't get a break once they start. They sit out the first game because they're in Group E, and then they just play all the way through, so they don't have an opportunity for that reset.
Yeah, and then we're going to keep going down this list, and I'm going to be looking at Puppeteers. Puppeteers, I mean, this is a team that I was actually personally expecting a lot more out of, considering what we're able to see on week 1. They ended up in 4th place on phase 2. Absolute drop-off to 13th place, and right now I feel like they're continuing on that performance that we saw out of them on that phase 2. And Execute, we're still on that. We don't want to talk about it. PASSIONFRUIT Esports, I feel like a team that has progressed so much, especially from phase 1 to phase 2 here at the start of phase 3. Not what we want to see out of them, considering that I feel like they're going to be set with the roster, at least from what Sixless was able to tell me. I asked him, are you going to be playing this week? And he said, nah. So I'm interested to see what PASSIONFRUIT Esports Cam is going to be doing with their roster, or how they're going to be performing, considering that they're not going to change it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, those teams, Execute and PASSIONFRUIT, and I think we had higher expectations for PASSIONFRUIT, Execute, but even for them, they're still lower than what we expected. I'd expect at least, like, let's say between like 7th and 12th range for Execute. Similar for Puppeteers, actually, who are lower down. YKG, of course, much lower than we expected. And then PASSIONFRUIT, you know, they're still trying to settle into what they're trying to do. They're still sort of fluctuating, but with the trajectory that we saw at the beginning of phase 1 up until the end of phase 2, you expected them to continue to perform well and at least be within top 5, but we don't want to take away too much from this. We say this every single time, but we need to remind you all, there have only been 5 matches total, 4 for each team played. So that sample size is very limited on what these teams have to offer. We still have 4 more days of this week. However, this does show at the very least that the starting speed, starting momentum for these teams that we have high expectations of, YKG and PASSIONFRUIT specifically, they need to start faster, especially when you have NHyper already so far ahead once again.
Yeah, we're talking about YKG. I kind of hinted at it earlier with NHyper. Let's take a look at those PMGC point leaderboard, because whoever ends up in first place after the finals and after everything is said and done is the one team that's going to be getting pretty much a direct invite to PMGC league stage. So bring it up to the top. These teams, there's no way they're going to make it. So let me see where it actually matters the most, which is going to be NHyper versus YKG. Right now, the point difference is 131 points. I can honestly say I don't think that they're going to be able to catch up unless NHyper starts throwing, which with the way NHyper is playing right now, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, Kindness is playing way too hot. GK First is still being really good as like that secondary clutch player with the really crucial eliminations that he's able to get and save the team if it comes down to it. But remember, if we do think back a few weeks ago, phase 1, YKG did perform very, very well. NHyper were 3rd place. So it's not like NHyper have been dominating this entire league, this entire fall season so far. But when we're looking at recency, sort of what form all these teams are on, and then of course the lead that you saw in those PMGC points, like NHyper, definitely they're on the inside track on this one, and it's possible for YKG to catch up and just have an explosive 4 days remaining of this season, but we're going to need to see something explosive happen.
Yeah, I think I had to go back because I know finals points do come into play. I can't remember if America's points come into play, so I'll have to ask some questions to figure that out if it's going to end up mattering. But you know what? We're talking about catching up. Can YKG catch up to NHyper? Let's look at how this team's performed yesterday, which, I mean, from what we saw of the overall, I think is going to be quite a contrast here out of them. And boy, it is, considering, look at the average damage, the average elements, too, that YKG was able to output.
Yeah, I mean, 4 times the average damage, 4 times the average eliminations. I mean, I guess not literally 4 times, but basically at least 3 times. And then the average survival time being double that of YKG. I mean, if the points didn't show you how poor of a day YKG had compared to NHyper's amazing run yesterday, these numbers surely are going to, you know, reiterate that.
Yeah, and the reason why I kind of was hinting at earlier what YKG might have just been thinking about just catching up to NHyper is because I actually got a chance to talk to Joey, and he told me that yesterday they were not playing their game. They were actually just focusing on trying to catch up NHyper. The hot drop that they had was a calculated hot drop, but it kind of fell apart when some of the players just started getting knocked and they were a little bit too away from each other. I asked them, do you think you're going to maybe hot drop them again? And they say, you know what, we're not going to be worrying about that. We actually want to start focusing on just winning North America. And if it is still a chance towards finals, why not? Let's just go for it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I kind of wanted to see more hot drops because, you know, I like madness. It is the last week, and at this point, they're going to be going to the finals anyways. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. What are you making that face for over there, Cam?
I still don't understand why you would go for a hot drop like that. I just can't get on board with the logic behind it to begin with. Like, not at this time in the phase. I don't know. It just. Maybe it's okay. It's like I could see they could have executed onto that as a way to like build up their own confidence rather than try and like get in the way of NHyper's. But at the very least, I'm glad that they're calling that off, that they're not committing to that strategy, because that is just one that is I could never see that any reality where it would work out.
They gave it a chance. All right, that's all that matters. Joey, squad, I appreciated that you guys gave it a chance and gave us some entertainment while at it. It backfired. I wish it would have worked out because I know you guys would have probably kept on going. But it is what it is. Now, another team that actually did surprise us yesterday with the second place finish, 4-12 NOMADS. Let's take a look at how they've been performing. By the way, we're going to be comparing how they have done in the past two phases, which is going to be on your left-hand side, and how they did yesterday, which is going to be on your right-hand side. And yesterday was an absolute banger out of this team.
So again, a caveat, sample size on the right-hand side, only 4 matches versus, 40 on the left. So things would even out. Those numbers on the right are very, very high, and much of it comes from one round. Their round 4 on Erangel, the win with 19 eliminations. Those are some huge numbers that won't be replicated. But I think the important thing of looking at this is that 412 NOMADS up until now have played a more conservative, safe style where they've gotten so many of their points off of placement points. And I was, I suspected that they are basically just soaking up placement points when NHyper are just eliminating the rest of the lobby. But what we saw yesterday is that when they're put in positions that they need to get eliminations, that they have the opportunity to get elimination points themselves, they are able to pick it up. It's not just that one win with 19 eliminations. They also follow that up with a 5th place 6 eliminations. So if you look at those final 2 rounds of yesterday specifically, it is looking like they're trying to be more active and they're not just sort of committing to this more turtle conservative play style. And it's that flexibility that you need in order to be able to perform. We'll see if they can maintain the 2nd place position, but I'm actually really excited to see the development of this team from the very beginning up until now and forward.
I think it's going to come down to how they start off the day, because something that we noticed yesterday, especially with 412 NOMADS, is they started off slow, right? They ended up 8th place with 0 elims, 10th place with 2 elims, but they got lucky because they are in one of those groups that they get to sit out halfway through. And that halfway through was kind of a spark to them, because that's when they actually start performing really well. Now, this team, if they want to be able to maintain that 2nd place, they have to make sure that they continue to perform, but every single match. You can't wait until you break and be like, okay, I think we're now ready to get another chicken dinner with 19 elims. That's just not going to cut it for anybody. Let's take a look at the schedule to see what match we're going to be playing in what order, because I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to be playing Miramar first. Sanok, ooh, okay. I'm looking forward to Friday because we get the party started with Sanok, but you know what, Miramar? I'll take it. And talking about 412 NOMADS, they are going to be starting off this game since they are in Group C, and maybe they'll be able to get that chicken dinner.
Maybe.
What do you think, Cam?
I'm looking at Sanok though. Like you said, get the party started. In YKG, they start on round 2, so they're one of the teams that starts on Sanok, and with the nature of that map, I don't know if this would be a good starting map for them, because on one hand they could just go into it in a TDM style, sort of like cut the brakes, let's just go out and frag, get some elimination points, and if we place high, that's good as well. And I guess that could be a good way to sort of get your momentum in and almost treat it as a quote-unquote warm-up, even though it is an actual real match that matters, right? But on the other hand, if they're not able to guarantee those placement points, which you can rarely do on Sanok, you know, hopefully it's really going to be a challenge for their mental, how they go into that map. But as you can see, participating teams, Group E, they're all sitting out. The rest of the teams, A through G, they do get to start here on Miramar.
Yeah, and I hate having to disagree so much, but I feel like YKG starting off in Sanok might end up helping them out because this is a team that relies on their fragging power. And yesterday, actually, when we saw what they were able to do, that was the game where they were able to at least get the most points when it came down to eliminations. They ended up, I believe it was 6 elims. I'm hoping they'll end up using the madness, they'll end up using their strategies, and I mean, we've heard Fierce is back, right? This is the roster. Also, from what Joey has told me, they're going to be looking to play their game again. I'm hoping that we're actually going to start seeing that YKG that we've been used to seeing, because if not, I mean, they're going to need a Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner, to get their day started. But you know what? They get to at least wait a game. They get to see how NHyper is going to be starting off. NHyper yesterday started off with the win. They were excited for it. They wanted to continue on the momentum. Do we expect NHyper to continue to get chicken dinners here again today?
Yeah. Maybe not.
How many?
Maybe like at least one. Surely,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Their form is too good, it's too consistent. They're going to get at least one.
Okay, all right. Something I actually wanted to mention about NHyper is, and this is kind of nitpicking on some of their stats that I am seeing out of them. I don't enjoy that Koi, even though Koi does do a lot of stuff for the team in regards to placement, in regards to positioning, I don't enjoy how his survival time is 4 minutes slower than everybody else from the rest of his squad. I'm just gonna toss it up and say that they're just trying out different stuff here with the dominance that they've been having. But when they do end up getting to Americas, that's not gonna fly, considering the Brazilian teams give teams no space to do absolutely anything. Well, you know what? I'm hearing that the game is ready. I'm excited to see if NHyper is gonna come out with the win here at the start of the day. So Hajik, Sute, take it away.
What's up, everybody? Yo, it's Jukes and Zoo, and yo, Seven. I'll tell you what, when it comes to NHyper, you make a great point. They can do whatever the heck they want right now at this point, because they have been dominating this tournament. We've been talking about them all day long, and it's so crazy because yesterday, right, we saw them win a chicken dinner with, what was it, like 63 damage taken?
Yep, 63 or 68.
It was
like
somewhere
that.
around there.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. It was off by a couple points. But I'll tell you what, that, in my eyes, is more rare than like a 20 elimination chicken dinner. Like, seriously, like that's that crazy. That insane. You know, so I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that before in the history of esports PUBG Mobile. Have you?
No, not that I can recall. That is just peak mechanics, peak positioning, peak suppression, and just controlling the lobby like at your will, right? That you take 63 between the 4 players, a combined total of 63 damage. That means they got hit like by 2 bullets, maybe.
Yeah,
2 to 3 bullets. That's it. 2 to 3 bullets hit. And they had 2,000 plus damage. So
that's crazy. That means that 2 players could have gotten shot, not enough to even use a first aid.
yeah,
That's how ridiculous it is. You know, so guys, will YKG get their get back here? That's my question, right? Because they need to. They tried to hot drop on them yesterday, got bodied, but here we go, batch number 1 here, day 2 of week 3, and we're starting off in Miramar, baby. All right, so I like starting off here in the desert, you know?
yeah.
We got a lot of open space. Teams can move around, have a little bit more room to breathe. What today, in my opinion, Zute, it's rotation camp day. You know, I think that a lot of squads, especially teams like YKG, should be hunting down NHyper, looking at their rotations, and try to take a couple of the players out early. Because honestly, what was it? I think phase 1, we saw that be NHyper's biggest weakness in Miramar. Once they get set up on the high ground,
player on rotation.
yeah, 100%.
So I'd have to agree, but I think according to the desk, you know, Joey said that they're just gonna play their game. Like, they're gonna go back to doing their own thing, and come around finals time, if the points are within striking range, then they're gonna, you know, go for those PMGC points. And honestly, I feel like
I don't like it.
it's there's 2 ways to look at it, right? There's your way of looking at it, which is it's PMGC we're talking about. You're like guaranteed into the finals.
Yes.
Don't stop. Keep going. You know, full send.
Why
But
not?
the thing is, it went so poorly yesterday. So poorly to the point where maybe, like, think about this. Okay, Jigs, I have not considered this. Think about this. For YKG, right, that PMGC won't be possible to overtake. And are they even going to be informed by the time finals comes around? And if they can make it to Americas, which, you know, I hope so, are they going to be informed to even perform well over there? If they keep full sending and dying and constantly, imagine their mental going into finals, going into Americas, and etc. So it's like, maybe they're taking a step back and they're going to be like, boy, we can even make sure we can even do well in general at this point. Because last week was bad, yesterday was worse. So that's where YKG is kind of sitting at, mental-wise.
Interesting. I don't know. I think that some of the top team, I think you have to kind of turn your brain off in certain situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, just not.
There's two ways to look at it. Turn it on.
Yeah, there's two ways. Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that if you go in with a particular strategy of saying, hey, you know what? Let's just full send it. We have no risk here. Nothing to lose. I mean, we're automatically going to go to the finals, right? Yeah. Let's just try to soak up as many points as we can and try to get them hesitating earlier rather than later, right? So that's my opinion. And then if it's like, hey, if it don't work out, that's our strategy, right? We're not going to let it get to us, and because that's what we were going for. If we lose everybody early on, it is what it is, you know. But there are definitely a lot of people that don't have that ability, right? They take everything so seriously, and you know, losing fights, they could definitely see it as demoralizing. So it really depends on, I guess, your overall mentality as a player. I wonder what everybody in the chat thinks about that, because
we should honestly, that would be a good vote, because I feel like it'd be pretty close. Like it could go either way, right? Like, just stop pursuing in hyper and play your own game to make sure you're prepped, because last week was bad, right?
Yeah.
Can they even get back to first week form? Well, now you take the time to get back to that first week form. Or there's your vote, which is PMGC. Got to go for it. Just as Skills of Mine, they're showing up now.
Oh my gosh.
Seven wanted to see this. Seven was talking about Skills of Mine and how, you know, they were really not, you know, putting up any performances. But now they're taking down 2 players of the Butterfly Effect, and they should be able to get that revive safely as well.
Yeah, gonna get that revive, get reset. Skills of Mind, you know, I love to see their progression here in this tournament. I mean, they're obviously still one of the teams that is struggling, but still, right, to see them, you know, pick it up here and there. Nice little smoke ball here, and he should be able to make it fine on over. Okay, yeah, go the long way. There you go. That's the right way. Perfect. And nice return fire. That's what we need to see a lot more players do, is just shoot back.
Ooh.
Don't get knocked, right? But just shoot back. Now, that knock is a little tough, but yeah, Butterfly Effect is way too far to do anything about this. So, I like those shots, though, especially on the Bomba, since he's so split up. Badger's going to go and get that revive, though, pretty easily. He should. Their positioning started to make me question things, though, every second as they move. Okay.
Yeah, Kubi, I was just going to say, they don't know where Kubi... There's 2. There's 2 down. 4v2 down to 2v2. Just like that. It was looking really... There were a lot of little things, like minute details that could have been way better that would have changed everything. Like, for one, when he was running over for the res in the first place, that return fire was really late. He sat there prone, not moving, head still, right? Prone. It is hard to get up from a prone spot, and all that was peeking out was his head. That was an easy knock for someone that return fire like earlier. Just 2 taps, maybe 3 at most. So yeah, Skills of Mind. At least they put 2 points in. They could still get 2 more here, but they're down to 2 players, so that's the big issue.
100%. Yeah, that's something that I think that we're seeing a lot of teams struggle with. And what I mean by shoot back is you don't even have to hit them, right? You just got to shoot in their general direction, and that'll make them peek away.
Yeah.
You can see Kubi, even those shots, right? Just saying, like, all right, you know what? Let me just peek down. Don't want to risk getting knocked here. This is a solo push for what it looks like, because I don't see the other teammate near him. That's super risky.
I think the other teammate's just covering, maybe.
He's lucky that Kubi wasn't holding that angle, because he would have gotten bodied on the way in. And he gets caught anyway.
Yeah, they're getting bodied.
Yeah. It's
down
tough.
to wasted.
It's tough. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. But you know what? Hopefully, I really hope they watch this broadcast and like play things back and start second guessing, like, hey, their positioning. Because right now, like, from as a person who's watched a lot of esports PUBG, it just looks like, you know, players, just playing by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Just playing by themselves. Just running all around, just trying to make plays. But, you know, that kind of play style just doesn't work here at this level.
Yeah. That was tough. That was tough for sure. They started off strong, getting the 2, but the follow-up was lacking. There were a lot of like fundamental mistakes that just really changed the tide of the whole thing, and they lost a 2v4. So, well, that's that execute, putting up a couple of points here. The first circle, by the way, is just very atypical. There's like no rush for teams really to rotate or get anywhere in particular. So, might see like a slower burn of a game. At least the first circle is concerned.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? I kind of want to go back. I kind of want to go back to what we're talking about because we did get cut off with that fight there from Skills and Mind when it comes to NHyper. Because we're talking about asking the chat, right? What do they think is the right thing to do, right? Is it better for them to just, you know, full stand aggression onto NHyper, you know, and try to get points in that way? Or do they do like what Joey said, right? And just play their own game and see what happens. And if they do end up having that gap at the finals, then going for it. Personally, you know, it just don't make no sense to me not to. They have no risk involved. They're automatically going to the finals. That's going to be a nice shot there from Casper onto Remix. Oh, man, we just had an interview with Remix, too. And, you know, this is the best way to take out top players, you know? If you're able to catch them on rotation, pop them out of a vehicle, there's just nothing they could do. But
yeah,
that's
when they're the most vulnerable for sure. We see Execute doing that a lot. We saw that yesterday with the bridge camp, and now today, camping a rotational path. They're doing what you're hoping YKG does to NHyper, that's for sure. So
just do it. Just do it. It makes no sense not to in my eyes.
A little bit harder to, I think, get NHyper on rotation because NHyper don't land on the edges of the map, so they have more options when they do, like, you know, meet some resistance on rotation. So it's a little more difficult, but I mean the VODs are there, like you mentioned, Jukes. There's so much to study. You know exactly how NHyper is going to move from zone to zone. So they could try it out, but I don't think it's going to happen today. I just want to see what YKG's got in general.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, right? What do they got overall is going to be a good question.
Yeah, like can they even put up like a top 3 performance at this point? Like, first week was awesome. Second week, crash and burn. Third week, yeah, we don't want to talk about what happened yesterday, right? So, you know, so what kind of YKG are they actually? They still have a lot to prove, regardless of the whole NHyper question being thrown in.
I love that the storyline is so important that we've been talking about this all game, and they're not even playing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not even playing right now. YKG ain't even in the lobby, and it's just so true, though. I mean, that road to PMGC is so huge. And the reason why, for everybody that's like listening, like, hey, why are you guys talking about it so much, is because it's been, when's the last time we saw a NA team in PMGC finals? Do you remember?
Yeah. Finals?
Ever? Once? Years ago?
That is, honestly, I'm like trying to think here. There were other global tournament finals.
Yeah.
That NA was in, but PMGC, where there's always that preliminary round, I don't think NA has made it in.
See, so the fact that we're having to think this long, guys, is the problem. You know what I'm saying? We're hoping to see an NA team at the big show. I mean, yeah, PMGC League Stage, huge opportunity, right? We've seen at least one NA team get there through this PMGC point qualifier. And I don't think we've seen another, right? We haven't seen a team, but we have before. Well, you know, I think it was, yes. But, you know, when it comes to, this is the best way in order to get that road to PMGC, you know? Trying to qualify at Americas, going against Brazilian teams, I'll tell you what, man, that's just, that's rough, real rough. Especially when you're going against a team like Alpha 7. You know, I got to talk to their coach personally. I got a little bit of an in-depth look at what they do every single day. These guys live in the same house.
PUBG
Mobile. They live in the same house. They have nutritional programs. They have exercise programs designed for them. They have to play for They have to play for 6 to 8 hours a day with that coach staring at them all day long. And they're scrimming against the best teams in their region and sometimes amongst the world as well. You know, so to play against that, it's tough. Now, it's not impossible. It's not impossible, right? I mean, you get the right couple situations going, and if your team is really on fire, you could definitely make it happen. But is it plausible? That's the question, right? You don't want to roll that dice if you can't. Yeah. If you can avoid it, that's for sure.
Circle just shifted, and Picato's dead center. But what I'm noticing is just how fast and hyper readjust their positioning. They had a 2-2 split with 2 further south, very strong split, and they instantly move into this split, a 1-3 split. They just know their splits like the back of their hand. No questions asked, instantly seeing that circle. They know where every player needs to move into.
I love it. I love it. Now let's take a look over here at Picado. Wall Street Bets, right? They're no stranger to this city here. And Wall Street Bets is a team that I expected a lot of things from. And I think that's because, you know, we saw the good old Slimmy, you know, a.k.a. the Slim Bot, on the roster. And he was sitting out for quite a while at the start. But now he's back in. Yesterday they had, I think, a good performance compared to what they've normally done. Now, unfortunately, he is sitting out of this game. So it looks like they are doing a lot of roster swaps on the side of Wall Street Bets.
Yeah, a lot of things happening coming into the third week. It's just, you know, teams are trying to figure things out before they head into finals, right? Like, they might be qualifying into finals for sure, like an okay performance, but they want to, like, go beyond that. So third week would be the time to, you know, once you secure yourself kind of in there, to change things up if you really feel like there has to be some sort of changes as a patch. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, what a shot.
You don't
and
see
he's
that.
Gone.
You do not see that every day.
Oof. That's a tough one, guys. That's a real tough one to do.
That was like the first 4 shots or so. Just straight headshot.
Boom.
Bam.
And then the quick finish, too. That's the stuff that, you know, honestly, like other teams, like this is kind of like always the most toxic thing when it comes to NA, is you have good players that do super well, you know, a.k.a. Coops, right? They end up getting picked up by international teams. So I think some of these squads and players, like especially if you're the mid-pack or if you realize that, hey, you know what, our chances of going to Americas are low, sometimes it's good for you to really just stand out. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know if you can get picked up on another roster in the future. And hitting shots like that, I'll tell you what, is going to definitely make teams raise an eyebrow because that's not easy to do.
Oh, this circle's also not easy to navigate as Picado or the high ground, a north-south split. That is a huge question mark for a lot of these teams. The next zone is going to get even spicier, but first, teams got to fight and move on in here, so we're going to see a lot of these teams try and make their way into Picado, or maybe even try and, you know, hard wrap and rotate to the northern side.
Let's see what the play is going to be. I want to see a good Picado finish. It's been far too long. So let's take a look here and see exactly how they are going to play it out. And right now you got BOPE right here on the edge. They have 16 seconds left on the clock. They're being held off by Ace of Spades. And I'm looking at BOPE right now. Yeah, they have their whole team up here. And I think it's time to throw some smokes and just try to get back to the team. He can wrap the other way around, so I'm surprised he's even holding this for that long.
I think they're just waiting for the IGL to figure out what they're going to do. Like, how are we going to rotate this, right? So it's just, and you don't want to go too early, right? Then you give up your backs completely, and Ace of Spades could take some shots. Kind of have to go later where Ace of Spades has to leave at the same time. Wall Street Bets defending inside Picado. Gets 2 of BULUC CHABTAN. Are they going to go aggressive? One of their players is knocked, though, so that might hold off their aggression as another team slamming in on the minimap on the other side. PASSIONFRUIT getting slammed by BOPE in the background at the apartments. It is an all-out chaos nightmare in the city of Picado.
That's right. Things are turning up here at Sid City. Wall Street Bets want to get this fight finished. Nice little thirst there, so he's going to go ahead and get that confirmation. Rest of Wall Street Bets are pretty far away from this. It's just Killjoy pushed up for the most part. But he's got a DBS. He's got to watch out, though. He's got to clear every corner. And he sees him. Oh, yeah, you got to clear that corner there. And look at that. Oh, he gets the double. Wall Street Bets going in a building one at a time. How many times do we talk about how risky that is?
Yep. It's just even half a second difference, it's you going in alone, pretty
late.
much. Yeah. And they're both going to get that reset here. So it will go back up to a 2v2. Both teams trying to fight for this little house here. A lot of noise being made. 40 on the outside. Molly coming in. That could be good, actually.
It looks good.
If it spreads. Oh, it doesn't spread into the room. So BULUC CHABTAN will be able to reset to 3. Illusion. Trying to get some info, some pre-fire. Shimmying back and forth. Gets behind cover. That's good. He's providing a lot of info for his team and stalling for the first aids to come back up.
He's got that nade locked and loaded. He's going to try to hit that corner. Get some! So Illusion, you know, getting Jatchi. Jatchi got one in return, but now it's just Cordy by himself. And, you know, when it comes to these kind of fights, the longer you take, you're just going to get that other team to reset completely, and you're just going to dwindle down to nothing. So, like, Cordy here, sitting, I understand, like, what his mentality is, but he's going to get taken out in the next few seconds. So, at a certain point, I think you just got to go for the push when you have a knock.
Yeah, when it's a 2v2 as far as numbers goes, and the other team has a knock player and can make it a 2v3, you just gotta go aggressive as the 2 with the last 2 up. You can't give them the time to get that third revive, as BOPE looking to take out the PASSIONFRUIT Esports team here. Down to Zuko and Juancho. 0 points. Luckily for them, Circle does shift down towards their side a little bit, so they don't have to rush this insanely fast. They don't have much time to work with either way, as BOPE is looking to finish them out.
Well, the question on everyone's mind, which team is going to win the match, Sute? Which team do you think is going to win the match here? Personally, man, you got Execute with some high ground, but what's Execute been doing? They only have 3 players up. I'll go with that Hyper. Why not? Can't. They won the first game yesterday. That's where I'm going to put my bet on right now. Meanwhile, let's see how PASSIONFRUIT's going to hold down these apartments. They're going to be out of circle here in just a few moments' time. So I think BOPE is happy to share this for now. They have 2 minutes. Do they want to clear this earlier than later? I think they would.
They should. And by now, they should be able to have the info that it's only like 2 up. Like, sure, they haven't made visual contact, but they can tell from the amount of footsteps, the amount of resistance, right? If that was 4 players up there, you probably see at least one player peek down at you. Some players trying to, you know, throw nades down, but it's definitely like a 2-man team. So BOPE should have that info just from hearing the audio cues alone. And we're seeing like a little bit of a fragmented push. The other 2 of BOPE holding back, so they're confused as to what they're doing, but Supra's still gonna find the opening onto Juancho. Now it's all down to Zuko. Zuko, last man up.
Yeah, Zuko in big trouble here. He knows he's going to try to go for the play, try to catch a point. Oh, he did have the opportunity there, right? He got the chance, but unfortunately was not able to hit those shots. Nice play there from Ophelia to win that out, especially going up against a DBS. Now, what's the BOPE going to do here? They're at the edge of the circle. They're going to have to push most likely to that gas station, use that as a checkpoint, and then try to get across to the casino from there. It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be tough to get into that casino because it's wide open field. So they do make it to that gas station for now. You see the NOMADS 412 over here in Coliseum taking a good eye and get some good peeks in this direction. And it looks like we could have a Picado finish. If we do, that's going to be absolute insanity.
Honestly, I think it's going to go in the middle, like between the high ground and low ground, with some of Picado in, some of Picado not. And I think NHyper's going to get a little bit of the circle to work with as well. We'll see what happens. Even if NHyper loses a circle, there's like a little ridge line side outside of Picado to the west of it that I think NHyper is planning on using too. So we'll see very soon. Only in a couple seconds is the circle going to shift. I don't think any more real fights are going to break out now. Everyone's just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, everyone just trying to just poke shots at each other, trying to get each other's armor down, seeing if they can get a lucky knock and thirst. 20 seconds left on the clock here. Every team is, steadfast in their position. You can see Olim there getting a nice knock onto Ophelia, and he might get that finish too. Yeah, he does. So Ophelia went way out trying to get a rotation and just got caught slipping. So that's going to be tough for him. Where's this zone going to go? Come on, just go to Picado. Don't go to the center. I understand why you would go to the center circle, but come on.
That is exactly what I pictured in my mind.
Yep. Well, that sloping hill up top is really difficult because it looks like you think you have a lot of cover, but you really don't. There's a couple little plateaus. You're going to need to set up a car wall, though, if you want to kind of set up in that location. You can see it right here. So we'll see how teams are going to hold that position. You can see XCZ with that little mountainside there. And meanwhile, BOPE, yeah, at the gas station. Like I was saying, they had to probably head towards Casino because that's the safest. Any other way is just so risky.
Yeah, I think they have like 3 different teams probably looking at them because the other 3 teams on that side and Kato, they're all beat up. So they're just going to try and have those elimination points as Ace of Spades making the hard, heavy rotation all the way from the south side. Can they make it in? They made some headway. I don't know if they got into the zone yet. And here comes BOPE. BOPE's rotation getting shot up a lot, but that buggy, that vehicle does get close enough to get in and break.
Wow, perfect. That was the play. That was the right play. It's not easy to make that rotation, but that's the only one you can do, right? And sometimes you just got to take those risks. So beautifully done there. And now let's see exactly how it's all going to play out. Ace still holding the little buildings right here besides this 5-stack. BULUC CHABTAN is going to be holding down the 5-stack completely to themselves. And the push is most likely incoming here in the next few seconds. If I'm BULUC CHABTAN, I'm trying to get rid of Ace of Spades as quick as possible. Because you know you got to rotate on in after this.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult, these urban fights. That's a great opening, though, from Illusion. And yeah, they should definitely look to play aggressive now. Because this circle's about to shift, and then after that, they have even less time. Blinky gets shot down to 1 HP. He needs to stay alive. Can he get a reset with that first aid? BULUC CHABTAN down to 2 now. Going for the revive.
Uh-oh. Kiddo trying to make some plays here. Is he going to go inside the building? He does. He's going to have to risk it, though. I think at some point you got to make the push. Here comes Illusion getting those thirsts. And is he going to go ahead and push against Kiddo or no? I think they're actually going to get a really nice reset here.
Yeah, Illusion doing a lot of work here. Having the realization to know that, hey, the other 2 that are up pushed inside, I'm going to go for this thirst and apply even more pressure. Push them in a little bit more, and the zone is about to shift once again. They'll be in the circle here. I'm pretty sure they want to finish this fight before the circle shifts. And I think, wait, is that circle shifted? I think that circle is, no, it's still closing.
Yeah, still closing.
Just
30
so
seconds
slow.
left. Yeah,
so
slow. So slow indeed.
Oh,
and here comes Ace Kiddo with the DBS. Gets 2. Can he finish him off?
Oh,
he
he does.
The thirst, baby. BULUC CHABTAN out of there. Let's go, Kiddo.
Ace of Spades coming in there like a wrecking ball, or specifically Kiddo. Hey, we mentioned this guy time and time again from Ace of Spades. Definitely, you know, one of their more star-studded players. And really clutching it up there, but getting shot and thirsted. Must have been some crazy angle he wasn't aware of, because I think he was inside the building the whole time. So that is unfortunate.
Unfortunate indeed. You can see Fuego got his eyes locked. This is troublesome because this zone is gonna hurt. This is stage 6, folks, and Papa Blue has no mercy in this one. And trying to get to those apartments, it's like no man's land. Just trying to even run across in that area, you're gonna get thirsted immediately. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, and Hyper going against Execute. This was what I was talking about a little bit earlier. I think Execute had the position, but since they were down the man, they've been playing it really, really passive. Now they lost another, so they're down to 2 players. Meanwhile, and Hyper, the entire squad up, the best position in this next circle. Are we surprised?
That's like, honestly, just not fair. I wish it went into
It's not fair.
Just so we can
see. It really
see.
isn't.
Yeah, just so we can see in Hyper with 4 fight in like urban situations, but they just got the zone again. So it's, I mean, even when they don't get the zone, they do really well. So it's like, there's no reason to complain. It is what it is. They're good no matter how the coin flips.
Dude,
so
they could push.
4-1-2 though. 4-1-2, amazing day yesterday. Can they start off hot today? The first player does get knocked trying to push in there. They get the info. It's just 2 of Canadian Eagles trying to hold back the team of 4-1-2.
Well, let's see what the play is going to be here as they are continuing to press. You can see Gunpain on the outside. They do get that thirst, and with this position in the circle, they're in a good spot to start gatekeeping everybody, but they got to finish this fight sooner rather than later. Nomads need to push. They don't have no choice because they're going to have to get on the defense. Meanwhile, you can see them finally starting to look in this direction. And it's MEZEXIS and XTREME players. Okay, Canadian Eagles does go down. So now the Nomads, right, had a great day yesterday, are in a good position
really
to
good.
soak up some more points here.
Yeah, this is completely different 4-1-2. They might also be able to get the zone if it just shifts anywhere down to the south. They should be in it. Meanwhile, the other two teams still in Picado, MEZEXIS and XTREME Slayers, duking it out. It's all down to Baby Bray. I don't think
Baby, goodbye. He gone. He
that
gone.
blue zone.
Nothing you can do there. That is the correct play, folks. Right? If you're a Baby Bray, just sit there, wait for the next match. Meanwhile, let's see how the rest of the teams go. And Hyper looking so good, so solid. I mean, the blue zone pushing towards them once again. And the only team really in that seems to have a chance is 4-1-2, but with their amount of elevation and control that Hyper is about to put on this circle, it's an easy dub.
I don't know. If that zone is...
It's easy dub.
Oh, they're in zone right there? Like, if the circle's down south just a little bit more, they'll be in the blue zone. Like, they have to be standing in the wide open. You mentioned it earlier. This might be high ground, but it's high ground facing, you know, buildings. And if you have to be on that wide open plateau, then you have no cover. But I think they're good. That little ridge, yeah, okay, I hear you. But still, that ridge is giving Hyper a huge advantage right now.
Yeah, but it's Hyper.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Yeah.
Jukes.
Yeah. So Hyper wins his
Jukes,
first
Jukes.
match, which is really good. What's up?
How much damage do you think Hyper took?
Oh, that is the question, folks. Right? That is the question out there.
I think they
right?
took a little more than 68 this time around.
I think they did because they did get into it a little bit with Execute. They are gonna have. I think they're gonna absorb some on the way in here as they win this match. So that's gonna be a couple more points. Now, if they take no damage on the way into this next circle, then that'd be absolutely ridiculous. Inactive, a solid player for MEZEXIS as well, right? Remix. I mean, there's been a lot of great players here for MEZEXIS. Inactive has been a monster on the squad. You can see him staying alive, trying to out-survive, Execute, get a couple more placement points. Did that nade go out? Okay, no, it didn't. But it's only a matter of time. Look at every single player in the lobby is staring right at him. Oh, this is Circle 9. Zone's gonna go to nothing from here.
So here's the thing: Execute still alive next to Hyper. He's gonna spoil on the way in for Hyper. Okay, never mind. So, anyways, 4v3. They gotta run downhill in the open. 4-1-2. They might be at a man disadvantage, but they have the ridgeline. They have cover down here, and Hyper is getting picked apart right now. And Hyper only has 2 up, 2v3.
Can they make the plays? Koi has the line though. Koi does have the angle. He should be able to get up GK first here in this position. What can 4-1-2 do? Hyper is bleeding bad. 4-1-2 needs to full send this. 4-1-2 can win this, folks.
I think they are. They're gonna get a reset back to 2. Hopefully 4-1-2 realizes it's just them. It's just the 2 of Hyper left, and they should have a good idea of where they are.
You gotta push. Now's not the time to do a 2-1 split. Now's not the time. Let's see.
They're playing for the blue zone.
They are playing.
Hyper
for the
has
blue
to
zone.
move first, I think.
Oh, is that true though? I mean, this is getting close.
More ridges. They got more ridges to work with.
Koi pushing up. There we go. Now 4-1-2 full grouped up together. One nade. PK first trying to get him. Nice little pre-fire there. Does get a couple clips.
Oh, they're pinned in. Oh, this is not good.
4-1-2's playing this too slow. Oh, the Molotov comes out.
Good. It is risky. Do they have any more util? Okay, only one more molly out of Hyper, so no more nades, which is really good news for 4-1-2. Because they are just pinned in right now.
GK first has one molly. He throws it. That was the last Molotov right there as it comes out. Ooh, Koi has the better position here as 4-1-2 is going to get pushed up, but they have the man advantage, and they just have to use their numbers. Use their numbers, use the weapons. You don't need that position as much here. Just make those plays. They're both wide. Beautiful. Oh, man, that was a nade. They would have been both gone.
3 point. He gets more ground.
He does. With that stun grenade. That stun grenade gave him so much more ground. Look at the body positioning, though. Who's going to win this? The zone's going to go down to nothing.
The pan being thrown.
They threw a pan. They threw the pan. Trying to make the plays.
Who's
going to win this? Oh, my gosh, they get the knock.
2v2. What? 2v1. GK first. Can he clutch?
Goes down. It's 4-1-2 Nomads with the game.
That was, honestly, 4-1-2. That was really good out of them. I would have any other or not any other team, but more inexperienced teams. I would have seen at least one player, right, under the pressure, under the adrenaline, peek out a little bit too much, get a little bit antsy, right, and they get knocked first. You see that happen so many times. But
yes.
4-1-2 as a collective squad, you wanted them to play faster, but I think as a collective squad they could play fast, or as a collective squad they could play slow. And they played that as slow as possible until they really had to go together as three, and they did it. So I think that was beautifully done by them. Maturity right there at the end zone.
Look at that. 9 eliminations, 1,800 damage. Absolute insanity. Way to go, 4-1-2 Nomads. You know, this is a team that I think we have seen a lot of, especially yesterday. So maybe phase 3 is their day. We talked about teams growing, right? Getting that maturity, starting to be able to make those plays. And I think they definitely did right here. This could be that stamp for them, right? And I'll tell you what, winning a chicken dinner like this against the top team in the lobby, what more, how much more momentum do you want? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful game out of 4-1-2. The way they played that final zone, I know it was a 3v2, but it's just like, I didn't see any mistakes out of 4-1-2. They all played together as a team, like slow and then fast at the very end when needed.
Beautiful game from them, guys. We got a lot more action coming up in a few seconds. I can't wait to hear what the desk has to say. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
41-2 Nomads with that chicken dinner. And I know this man next to me is going to be happy because he's been talking about it for such a long time, especially yesterday when they started performing so well. You know what? Let's pull up those match rankings so we can see how some of the other teams did too. Okay. I thought they were going to choke it, but they didn't. They were able to come off with a win, Cam.
Yeah, and listen, coming from the city of Mikado at the end there was not an easy feat. One of the reasons, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone else on the broadcast, but the reason why I picked NHyper to win at Phase 5 is because they didn't have to deal with all of that chaos. They had the spacing and timing to order to set themselves up in a more efficient manner. But 412 Nomads played it very, very well. They got themselves in positions. They won the fights that they needed to. They were able to sort of gatekeep and keep out everyone else who was trying to leave that city once they took that exit position. And then they just played the timings very, very, very well when it came not just to leaving those buildings in order to get to the center of their circle, but also deal that initial damage to NHyper when they were first trying to come off of that high ground, off of that plateau once XU got taken out. If they didn't get those knocks onto, I believe it was Rin and Kindness, it would have been an entirely different endgame.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like I have to give compliments to NHyper because they didn't just get blessed by the circle. They were actually pushing their way in towards north. They were waiting for, I think it was Speed of Fire and SLR to just finish that fight and then execute as well. They were kind of lingering there. The proactiveness of NHyper, the awareness too out of them, that it was really impressive. Even though they didn't get the chicken dinner, I'm really glad with what they were able to do, the rotations that they did.
Yeah.
Execute there with 10 points. We might get a chance to talk about them later on, but I'm actually impressed of how many Ilms they were able to get. Considering that yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, I think they only ended up with just 7 Ilms. So good to see them being able to get 6 here in the first match. And if we continue on there, Stream Slayers at the bottom. And I kind of want to continue on even more because Canadian Eagles, a team that we're kind of praising earlier, they only ended up with 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, again, the chaos of Picado, it's only one match. I'm not going to, look too hard into it. I actually think that the execute narrative is a stronger one here. The fact that they're performing well. Canadian Eagles, on the other hand, they were with a bunch of the teams that were all trying to make it into the city. Sometimes you just don't win the fight that you need to, and just GG PUBG next. The fact that Canadian Eagles is even able to make it into the city in the first place,
Yep.
because they were, you know, admittedly playing on Edge, which is what they traditionally like to do. But one of the hardest things about playing Edge is needing to push into a city, whichever one it is. So the fact that they were able to get that far and get 2 placement points is definitely a good sign. So I don't think that this isn't like, and I'm not putting words in your mouth when I say this, but this isn't like the death knell for Canadian Eagles at all.
Oh no, I was actually surprised that they were even able to get some placement points out of that because of how they had to rotate in and how they were able to survive that. And I'm glad you pointed out that they were playing that edge circle too, which is something you were pointing out yesterday too. We didn't really get much to see it, but we kind of saw it here. And with the madness, as you mentioned as well, Picado, it was going to be tough for them either way. So I'm surprised that they were even able to get some points for that team, a team that I wasn't actually able to get in points expansion for esports. Well, we'll get a chance to talk about Execute. I think if we have enough time, we'll get a chance to talk about 412 Nomads. I want to see more of this team. I feel like Phase 2 maybe was a honeymoon stage. What's going on with this team? Hopefully they'll be able to wake up. But you know what? I digress. I'm actually gonna skip that. 412 Nomads. Let's look at their player stats, because this is a team that's been able to perform now 2 days in a row. And honestly, I'm starting to get behind this team.
Yeah. Listen, Gunpain with some good numbers coming out. 566 points of damage. That's really good efficiency of damage to Elim/Nox. I mean, granted, you know, you can't confirm all the knocks that you get, especially when you're trying to shoot people at range from the position that they were at. But this is just looking like a really hot squad, and I'm liking the fact that it is not just one player. Granted, it's one map, right? But it's not just one player who's holding up all the stats. Obviously, the total, like, flip side to that is Dong from Puppeteers, where it really feels like it's all on his plate. Here, Nomads, their team, that sharing the load in a very fair sense, which is, you know, I think sets them up for better success going forward.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that it's not just one player carrying this squad, because something that I forgot to mention earlier too, the stats out of yesterday for these players. I mean, we had Alim with 6 eliminations, 3-point with 5, Gun Painter with 9, and then I don't. QQ, I'm just gonna call you QQ, brother, because I don't know how to say your name. He ended up with 7. So the way that they were able to spread out the 27 elims that they got was actually what impressed me the most out of that team. We're usually able to see maybe a duo or maybe just one player pop up and have a good performance. So I'm glad that they were able to do that. Now, we were talking about Execute. The reason why I wanted to mention them was because of those elims. Was because of what they were able to do. So let's take a look at the player stats out of Execute, because I want to see who was performing well. I think Fate got eliminated super early on, and Trick being able to put up 4 elims.
Yeah, listen, Trick is the player that more often than not comes out on top for this team. And so the fact that we see that again, really good performance, trying to hold out until the very end. It was Casper, I believe, the last one up for the team, just trying to snake any last few points out. But really the fact that they were able to take control of that northern side on the rocks shows, okay, what I mean is that if they were just in Picado, picked up a couple of kills, and then went out in like 5th place or whatever, sure, those are some good eliminations, some good placement points, but playing into a rock face on high ground like that, you're actually committing to a position of attempted control. And even though they ended up not getting it in the end versus Hyper and a bunch of the other teams that were sort of whittling them down, they were still playing for control, playing for some semblance of, you know, pushing their own execution, right?
Yep.
And so getting good points, good eliminations. This is looking like an entirely different team from what we saw yesterday at the very least, much less the entirety of this season so far.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they were able to get those placement points, because we know that, especially if you put Trick in the right place, at least for one, he's been able to show us, even going back to Phase 1, right? He's able to get those elims, but I feel like this team really needs to dial it down when it comes to those placement points, keeping everybody alive, because we have seen Fate being eliminated early on, and I think that's one player, especially for this squad. Going back to Spring Split, I mean, Fate was having an amazing split. I think maybe one of his best splits throughout his whole career here at PUBG Mobile Esports. We haven't been able to see him frag out. He's been getting eliminated early on, which usually it hinders a team too if you lose your IGL very, very early on, Cam.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the gut reaction might be that, oh, the IGL no longer has to play. That means they can focus 100% on the calling, but you don't really have the same sense of, like, mental understanding of what's going on when you're not into the middle of it. Sure, you might be able to have greater access to specifically what your teammates are seeing and being able to have a greater synthesis of that information. But when you're like dialed in, and especially with the nature of PUBG Mobile and Battle Royales in general, where it's a lot of just going off of your gut doesn't really communicate in the same way when you're just watching from above. So yeah, so I definitely agree with you that when your IGL is out, you might lose some sense of calling, especially with like gut decisions and like quick second hair trigger decisions.
Yeah, we're talking about IGLs. I want to see what Joey and the squad's going to be doing here, because Sanok, we're wondering if they're going to be able to take advantage of the madness. I think they might be able to. Hopefully, they go back to what they were saying, which is going to be pretty much their playing style. I can't wait to see what's going to happen here in Sanhok. So, hot, Jukesute, take it away.
Match number 2. We are heading on into Sanhok. YKG now entering the battlegrounds. Let's see how they're going to start it off in the chaotic map that is the jungle. And you can see right there, look at that, most eliminations. GK first with 14-second kindness, and now the Nomads. Okay, you know, I mean, it's good to see them come up here as time goes on. Finally, in week 3, we're seeing them show up big time. I am proud of the squad, and I can't wait to see more from them.
Yeah, 412 Nomads is one of the teams that I least expected to show up, because I think week 1, not really, you know, anywhere to be seen, and same with week 2. But we see other teams, you know, show up week 1 and then, you know, fall off. But then week 2, some other teams step up, and now week 3, out of nowhere, in a huge way. Yesterday, 412 got 19 eliminations and the chicken on a map, right? So, yeah, this 412 team just really coming in here, showing us how it's done. Taking a look at the map, no hot drops. No YKG on in Hyper down in the south. So I think the hot drops are not going to happen today. We might see those rotational camping that you mentioned, but I don't know. We'll have to see the other maps as we get a very eastern circle.
You hear me laughing because, you know, Passion Fruits is just like, again, dude, when are we gonna get one circle on our island? I don't think it's happened once. It's crazy.
Not once.
Not once. So they're just getting burned.
That's one thing I look at every Sanhok start. Just like, is that Northwest Island worth it? Nope.
Nope.
Not this time. Not next time. Not the other times. It's like you're just really praying for the first circle. And there are teams that play that Northwest that do really well when the circles aren't there. But it's a different play style, and I don't think it's like a play style that Passion Fruit is like striving to kind of achieve.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, Passion Fruit are going to have to push their way into this circle once again. This is a good zone for quite a few teams, though. And mainly, you know, you got YKG, they landed this area. You got Canadian Eagles dropping in Paradise Resort and not having to worry about butterfly effect. So they have Paradise completely to themselves now here in this Sanhok match. So they are big chilling. So let's see how Canadian Eagles can continue on with putting up some points on the board.
Yeah, definitely going to be keeping an eye out for Canadian Eagles. Looking at the map, got quite a few teams already just centering up, because at the center of this Sanhok circle are some very strong compounds that kind of split the west and east side. You know, there's that road coming down, which is pretty much centered. And the east side, well, you got that high ground to contend with going up. So those compounds become even more crucial as YKG, with a very fast full send rotation, happens to run into some enemies. And
all right,
he's got the knife out.
Ooh, step. Joey busting it out there. Okay, now let's see what the rest of MEZEXIS is going to do. This is interesting. I think seeing their other duo here, they did get one knock, so we're talking about how sometimes it's better to go ahead and get aggressive in certain times. But we got to remember, this is a full squad of YKG, and then yeah, as soon as HH24 gets that knock on the Crow, Baton said, "I'm out of here."
Look at how far away HH24 is from the rest of his team.
Wow.
So yeah, the rest of his team. You see those 3 players in the background, chat? That's like all the way in Camp Bravo, and HH is, yeah, HH is like, man, I really need to step it up. He's just gonna go off on his own, and he found a knock.
Let's go, dude. I'm so happy to see HH24 not knocked. You know what I'm saying? This man is up and running. He can be a force to be reckoned with. And so YKG gets a couple points, right? That's all cool and all. And
Yeah,
Hyper said, let's double it.
I see it.
Let's double it, right? excuse completely gone. And Hyper with 4 eliminations, YKG with 2. I mean, YKG can just not catch a break. They can't get a win. It's like, this is literally the definition of 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
Yep. Oh, hold on. Another fight? Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
This is an hyper team. They're doing something different every day. Ren, up close and personal, gets that first aid off. Fully boosted. He's got that DBS too. Ace of Spades versus N Hyper. I don't know if Ace of Spades know this is N Hyper, however. So they might start backing off when they do get that info. But N Hyper playing Sanok. Aggressive. Already 4 points. They can do it all.
Sure can. You can see Ace of Spades on the move. Uh-oh, heading right towards Skills of Mine. That's going to make things interesting. And, yep, I think they did spot something. They're going to go ahead and hit a quick U-turn. Bomba was, he heard that Marauder real loud, so he said, you know what, let me just hold this angle here, see if we can catch him slipping. Oh, here go the shots. Nice shots out the vehicle, to be honest. And, uh-oh. Wasted does get knocked. The rest of the team is too far away. Wasted is being out of position here. It's going to be tough. But what this remaining member of Skills of Mine, he has to make a play against Blinky. Wasted's giving him the intel. They know exactly where he is.
Oh, here comes the reinforcement. The drive-by runs one over.
Run over from Mumbai, yeah.
2v2 now.
Watch out. It's coming back.
And he's still driving around.
He gets the run over.
What is this?
Oh my gosh, the vehicle explosion comes out. Bomba getting the revenge, saying, you ran over my brother, how dare you?
That's the definition of overheating right there. You get the first one, that's great. You get the second one, that's amazing. I don't think you try and go for the third one at that point. Not in the car. So, Ace of Spades, down to 1. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get that revive. Maybe, actually. Oh! Oh! Okay.
HH too far.
I think he's... HH is pushing this.
Let's go, HH.
I've had enough.
Send it. Send it. I've had enough of this long-range shenanigans. It's time to get in the mix, baby. Let's see if K9T can get in there. Meanwhile, in Hyper, I think they had to have been hearing this as well, so
yeah,
that is interesting. We're starting to see teams start to center up here already early on. You know, in Sanhok, this is a map where you don't want to play edge. I'll tell you that, you know. But sometimes you don't want to play to center either, because then all the teams look at you. It's a really hard one to choose. Let's see where this next zone is going to go, though, as we see, you know, hey, Passionfruit, make it on in, nice and safe. It looks like BULUC CHABTAN are going to do that as well. And we're seeing a lot of congestion here in the center of the map, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of early fights because of it.
Yeah. I hope the circle just hard shifts. Nope, it doesn't really hard shift, so I don't think any of these teams are going to be looking to move around anytime soon. We'll see Passionfruit move up a little bit. 412 might move up a little bit closer. If there are any big fights that break out, I'm hoping it's like a full-on, like just full send 4v4. Otherwise, it might slow down a little bit here. Well, Skills of Mine, they're definitely going to get taken out now.
And yeah, Skills of Mine, final player up. Lybrick trying to make a play, seeing what he could do. Meanwhile, Koi from N Hyper says, we've got 7 eliminations already. Why not? Let's just make it 8.
Oh, wait, they're up 7? I thought they were at 4.
No, yeah, that was seconds ago. That was seconds ago. Were you not paying attention? Huh? You gotta remember, these guys...
They just get them too fast. I'm not used to N Hyper getting elimination points.
Yeah.
Like, early game.
It's so crazy. I blinked too. Honestly, I can't believe they got another 3 eliminations. I looked away for 1 second. I was looking at the map feed, and all of a sudden they're up now 8 eliminations. They did lose 1 player early on, so that's absolute craziness. Now they're stuck though, right? They're in a bad spot here. A lot of the times, you know, you think that you're good in coverage of buildings like that, but especially these wooden buildings, it's way easier to attack them than it is to defend them. So what's Execute going to do, though, right? Are they going to go for that offense? Are they going to use those smokes, push up, throw that utility in, and get these easy eliminations? Or do they know that this is N Hyper and they're a little bit hesitating? I don't know.
Yeah, it's risky. And still, we're only in Zone 2, so it's like you don't have to fight for those compounds. And it looks like Execute is backing off. And I just want to say, N Hyper, they're getting these eliminations so fast, not even our observer could catch them getting these eliminations. Like,
oh my gosh,
our job,
crazy.
Talk about what we see on the screen, observer, right? Try and find what's happening on the screen for us to talk about. And in Hyper, they're just doing it so quick that it's like, by the time it goes back on them, they got 3 more, 4 more elimination points.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, I mean, 8 eliminations for NHyper, and I guarantee you, if you're just a YKG player and fan, you're just like, you're just sighing because, like, goodness gracious, you know, they got 2, they got all 4 up, but, I mean, they've already offset so much. I mean, YKG needs to take out 2 squads just to try and catch up to what their original lead was. Meanwhile, they do have BOPE nearby. These are always tough fights because that first initial knock is so crucial, and it's so
Also,
hard
it's
because
BOPE.
sometimes, yeah, you want to put. Oh, it is BOPE. It is BOPE.
Yeah, it's YKG's kryptonite.
For some reason, BOPE just keeps giving YKG the work, and I'm telling you, this is not a great area to battle at because, you know, there's so many snakes in the grass, so many little hills and divots. You know, you think you get 3 knocked, and then you push because you think you have the advantage, and all of a sudden a snake just beams your entire squad. So let's see how that works out. 24K is running around. Oh, it makes me nervous.
I don't think
'cause
they
he's running
know.
around. Yeah, he's running around a
Yeah,
little too willy-nilly.
YKG has no idea how close BOPE is. Seeing him, that's the hard shift I wanted to see, Jukes.
Wow.
All the way down to the east, and Lakawi maybe will get a zone down there. I mean, K19's already set up there, but look at all the teams not in the circle. The Great Migration East. Here we go.
Wow. K19 sitting good. LOTUS sitting good. And you know NHyper's most likely going to try to do a huge wrap, and they didn't know. They did not know, and now it's just Chico, and goodbye. I'm telling you, YKG's kryptonite. It's BOPE. Anytime I see BOPE next to YKG, you know that they're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, that was the definition of bad time. I don't think YKG even had a chance to shoot back with just the trap sprung by BOPE. Well played by BOPE to make
honestly
that little noise. Like, YKG is a very vigilant team usually, but wow, BOPE just sneaked in so well. NHyper, they made a rotation straight down into the compounds, a little off center, but the center is right next to the water, so if it pulls away from the water, NHyper might be, you know, in the next circle as well.
Well, let's see just how central they're gonna be. Meanwhile, Speedfire looking to get in the mix with NHyper. How many more points NHyper gonna get? Can Speedfire actually shut them down? I want to see Speedfire be one of those teams that we see some improvement on, but we've seen a lot of mistakes with this squad. So let's see how they can finish.
Oh, 412's here also, Jukes.
Uh-oh. 412 is a
Yeah,
problem.
Speedfire.
412 is a problem. I'll tell you that right now. But I do like to see this aggression from Speedfire, right? We're starting to see them push rather than just play safe. So that's, I think, a change of pace. I got to give them that, right? Let's see if they're able to get an opening knock here. All it takes is one good day. They can do it.
Yeah, NHyper was playing a split defense too. They were like split and ready for one team to crash and take that fight. But with 2 teams on both sides, NHyper's really struggling to try and, you know, readjust and reposition themselves. One player is kind of caught off on the other side of the road. And is that another, I think I just saw another vehicle maybe rotating in as NHyper staying alive. Same with Speedfire, but Speedfire, they're pressing in one building at a time, clearing one room at a time with a nade. I don't know if they're going to make this push, though, across to the last building where the rest of NHyper are.
Let's see what the play is going to be. Meanwhile, BOPE now going up against Canadian Eagles. Ophelia, I don't think he has. Does he have a med? He does, I think, get it off. Yes, he does. Okay, so he does get that first aid off. The blue zone is starting to creep on in. This is still pretty early, so you could eat a little bit of it. But let's see here as BOPE just playing that snake style of play, and it's been working out so far. Meanwhile, the feed is starting to light up. BULUC CHABTAN going up against LOTUS. And it looks like both these teams are able to sneak by each other. There's a Fuego. Fuego sees Baby Tang. Is he going to run this area? No, I think he does avoid it for now.
On the other side of things, BULUC CHABTAN here, getting in the fight with the LOTUS team. Jara is down. Nade in hand for Zendry, trying to finish up this fight. BULUC still has 4 up, so they have a lot of manpower to work with in the rest of the zone. So they need to finish this. Yeah, he's down. He's out. That is a really good Molotov right there from the side of BULUC CHABTAN.
Beautifully placed, too. Those are not the easiest ones to throw until you get them so close to the rock, right? So they overthrow it just a little too far. and it won't get that spread. So Drago, see him with that M249. He gets pieced up pretty good. He's the last remaining member for the Canadian Eagles. And BOPE, you know, BOPE has been battling teams on the edge, teams like YKG, so many others, and they've been doing a pretty good job of it so far. And man, I'll tell you what, they just went in there and they just started blasting. I mean, these guys are no joke.
Yeah, BOPE looking really good right now, but this is going to be a hard one. To push up that hill, yeah, that's going to be a tough hill. Next circle, probably going to shift down or center it up a little bit, so BOPE's probably already planning on how to execute that push up there. PASSIONFRUIT's getting knocked by BOPE. Going to hold off all of these angles. Maybe get the revive. Dong from long range, from downtown. Gets the thirst as well. Oh, that is not what BOPE needed.
Man, you think you're walking around, you think you're okay, it's on Sanok, and then just suddenly here comes Dom. I tell you what, this guy in the grass is so dangerous. I think he levels up whenever he's in Sanok, because we see Dog just frag out time and time again every single Sanok we watch, and I want to see just how many eliminations he's going to end up with in this game. Now, we do have this super eastern zone here in Lakawi and Bond. Let's see, as Reckless is trying to put some shots down range. That's the last player up for Canadian Eagles. He's gone, and that's going to leave us with 10 teams remaining.
10 teams up. Soon to be 9 and down on the next circle shift here. MEZEXIS baton, last one up alive there on that west side. You can see next to that crate. Where is the circle going to go, though? I think no team really has a firm position, like anywhere. All areas of the map are heavily contested. BULUC is chilling on the east side, but yeah, that circle goes down south. And 412, Speedfire, and Hyper. I think they're all gonna just shake hands and just continue sitting and waiting.
Let's see what the play is gonna be. PASSIONFRUIT, really close up here next to Lujiang. Are they gonna be able to catch him slipping? Let's see, Puppeteers. Great shot there, catching Zuko. Now here comes the push with the Vector in hand. This fire rate, I'll tell you what, it's no joke. But you know what? Nate had his number there with that UMP-45.
Yeah, Nate had that jump there. I don't know if Lujiang realized Nate was just on the other side of the rock already. Getting sandwiched. Puppeteers biting a bit more, or trying to chew off a bit more than he can. So down to one now. Reckless was in a great spot. Gets taken out. It's Nate. 4 eliminations for Nate alone.
What a spot, too, man, to just see that heads-up play and take him out just like that. That's always the problem when you do those laydowns, right? You just expose your head completely. And if they even touch you, I mean, it's all headshots and you're out of there. So, you know, high risk, high reward, because that laydown does reduce that recoil big time. But at the same time, it does leave you pretty exposed. So the rest of BOPE is going to try to make some plays here. Juancho, the legend.
Oh,
the man,
he sees him now?
the myth, the legend. Does he spot Baton?
I saw Baton through Juancho's scope, but it's hard sometimes. Your eyes can be trained elsewhere on the map. Yeah. Your eyes could just be like on the left side of your screen when that right side is where that player's, you know, proning around. So Baton doing the best snake impression, staying alive for now. We'll see how much longer as PASSIONFRUIT's, they're chilling now. They're in the zone. Everyone's going to be waiting for the next one now.
Well, question is, which team's going to get the most eliminations here? Let's see what this next circle is going to pop on over. And it does go down a little bit south here. So let's see just how many eliminations are these teams going to get. It got Execute pushing up against K19. This should be a fight that they win. So if K19 wins this, I lose all faith in Execute going forward.
Execute already has 2 eliminations and probably onto the K19 team. So they have a good idea. There's only 2. Some offensive smokes coming out, hopefully. Well, all they really need is one onto Tuki's window, and they'd be fine.
That's what I was about to say. That was
first
a little
one,
too close.
Yeah, blocks off more of Execute's vision. But it's 4v2. Let's see them finish this one out. Trick opens it up. 4v1 now. Shouldn't be any problems, but Execute sometimes, you know, always trying to do a little too much. Tuki He's got another nade. Oh, is he
Oh
gonna
my
cook it?
goodness, this nade. That
He's
nade.
cooking it.
Oh, it's just a little
Oh.
under, a little over. And he gets taken out. Nice
we
job
go.
there from
Okay.
Casper to shut him down and get this res off. Right on time, too. They're going to have this side of the map to themselves. So, I mean, Execute could definitely start soaking up some huge points. Meanwhile, this huge
Oh,
battle.
4-1-2 pushing.
Yeah, 4-1-2. Pushing up against Speedfire. I mean, at all the teams, right? And Hyper, just big chilling. You got PASSIONFRUIT coming down the side of the hill as well. I think they realize that this is the spot to be. Try to catch that third party, and it's going to be 4-1-2
Alim.
on top.
He made it across the road somehow. I don't know. Maybe he threw down some more smokes, but Hyper was watching that cross. 4-1-2. I don't know how they made it from that side of the road to the other with Hyper just watching over everything, and then they win the fight as well against Speedfire. 4-1-2.
Man, I'll tell you what.
Doing it all.
Alim has been a monster influence, I think, on this team. Of course, we see Gun Pain just start fragging out of his mind as well. Meanwhile, you got Koi putting up some shots against Killswitch up on top of the hill. Nice little jump punch right there out of anger, saying, I wish I hit that shot. Meanwhile, Alim does get knocked there by Kindness. Ooh, he gets naded in return. I don't know how Kindness survived that.
He's just a little bit better, right? You
That's
get
what it
naded,
is.
you get knocked. Kindness gets naded, he doesn't get knocked.
Yeah,
He's just and look,
flexes it off.
they're picking apart 4-1-2.
Not
12.
fair.
12? Did I see 12? Yeah, I see 12.
Ugh.
Make that 13. Soon to
The
be
question
free point. About
was-
to be a free point.
The question was which team was going to have the most eliminations. How dare I not pick Hyper, you know? What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Because, I mean, this is ridiculous. No matter what the game is, no matter what the position. Oh,
Oh
Kills
my
me.
gosh.
why out in the open? You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
I
not
know
sure
he's
why
coming
he's
down
over
the
there
hill,
on that side.
but still, like, yeah,
but-
there is that other side of the hill. I don't know.
The other hill with
Where
the
the whole
zone and
team is?
everything. Yeah. I mean, I guess they're just trying to hold off too many angles because they don't want to get sandwiched, but either way, they're going to find themselves sandwiched here. Taken down to just Casper. Casper
Oh my
could maybe just
gosh,
prone
Execute.
and let BULUC and Hyper fight it out. But I don't know about this one. Hyper's looking good right now.
If they would have just focused on BULUC first and then took out Hyper after, this would have been an Execute win. But, you know, just trying to handle too much. Or the either way. You know, to hold off Hyper as they come in through the blue zone and then push on the other side. But, yeah.
I think
now
it was a tough spot for Execute.
It
They had
is,
it
but-
1-3 or 2-2 either way.
But you got to make a decision, I think. I think you got to push against one squad or the other. But regardless, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to make a
They could
play.
have played it better, for
Yeah.
sure.
Let's see what Koi does, though.
Resets coming out.
BULUC CHABTAN, can they win this game? They got blessed with the circle here. Can they finish strong? And Hyper, always so deadly. Look at the aggression, right? Even in this kind of zone here, they know they have a little bit of hill. They're going to use it. Illusion, I like the fact that we're seeing BULUC CHABTAN push here. This is huge. They're going to be able to get this finish, and they should win this game, and they do. BULUC CHABTAN with a nice finish and a solid chicken dinner.
That circle all the way to the east. It could have been anyone's game, but BULUC was the one who took it in the end. That was a chaotic game. A lot of like fractured fights in different segments of the map that were just all out. And we could barely catch all the action, Jukes. I feel like more than half the lobby went out where we couldn't even like see what was going on because it was just fights happening everywhere at the same time.
Yeah, that zone was really tough, right? You didn't have a lot of coverage there in that one, so I think it definitely makes things a lot more difficult. So to see BULUC CHABTAN pull it bust out 11 eliminations is so solid. I mean, I think they did get blessed in that circle. You know, they had that one little compound with the most coverage, and the zone ended up going towards them. But they were able to get the finish, and I think that's what's so important, right? And it's so crazy that they won the game, yet we do not see them on the match report. It's all GK first and Kindness. Wow.
Yeah, GK first. Just every single time, it's just Hyper up here. Regardless, they always take at least one of the stats, right? With how well they are just playing today. Or not today, like all 3 weeks long.
Yeah. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. So more major points for Hyper, and YKG, is it not the time? Is now not the time? Right? What more do you have to lose here? Right? You're getting bodied by BOPE. Hot drop, baby. Let's go. Let's see it. Let's go ahead and take it out the highlights. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a team that finally drank that Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner, because BULUC CHABTAN, a team that was in 19th place coming into that Sanok match, decides to win it, and they went aggressive to us. We're going to be seeing the match ranking here. I thought, for some reason, that they were going to give NHyper a little bit more space, and NHyper was going to be able to recover and win that, but I actually like the aggressiveness there at the end from BULUC CHABTAN.
Yeah, man, they saw the opportunity and they just went for it. They pulled that trigger. 11 elimination points. They still lose out to NHyper on that scoring, but with the win, 21 points total. That's a very good grab in general, but especially, as you said, for this team that is so far down on the leaderboard. Now, we've seen times before where a team who is very far down gets a win and they aren't really able to follow it up. So we're still gonna have to see some, that consistency come through, even if it's not a win, but still like good performance, good placements. But nonetheless, this is a really good starting point for them to sort of get that momentum and that confidence rebuild back up, because it's hard to maintain a positive working environment when you're so far down on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and talking about bounce backs, the team that was actually able to take advantage of Sanok, PASSIONFRUIT Esports. I'm going to talk about both too, but PASSIONFRUIT Esports being able to get 8 points, considering we've been wondering what's going on with this team. And BOPE, 9 points. The ambush that they pulled on YKG, I don't think nobody was expecting that, especially YKG. As I think it was 24K that we just saw running around just freely, as Hot Jix was mentioning. That was such a great ambush by them.
Yeah, listen, you can never read the map 100%.
Yep.
You definitely cannot read. You definitely cannot read Sanok 100%. That one, you really gotta have your ears as wide as possible, your head on a swivel. You gotta just make sure that you have crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. There's a lot of good scoring for a bunch of these teams, even outside of the top 3 where we see the double digits. Said BOPE with 9, PASSIONFRUIT with 8. 412 with 7 as well. I'm expecting, though, that the second half of this leaderboard is going to be a bunch of 1s and 0s.
Yeah,
hey, I was right.
With 412 Nomads, going back to the beginning of the day, how we were talking about how they had such a good day yesterday, but it was mostly towards the second half. They are going to be sitting out this next match, but so far today, they started off with what I wanted to see. I didn't want them to wait for that second half. They started off hot, so hopefully after, when they come back in match 4, they'll be able to continue that. YKG gets those 2 early points. I thought that we were going to be taking advantage of the madness of Sanok, but as we mentioned, BOPE Esports had other ideas, and they're currently the kryptonite for this team. And we keep going down a little bit more. Canadian Eagles there with 0 points. PUPPETEER with just 1 point, and MEZEXIS with 1 point. But you know what? Let's actually move on, because I would like to take a look at Execute. We're talking, we want to see a little bit of consistency, and I feel like Execute so far has showed that at least a bit, right, for a team that we really weren't expecting much of. I think at one point we were like, we don't even want to think about it. All right, Execute, just completely ignore it. And here are the player stats so far today. Drake, Casper putting up some good numbers.
Yeah, really, really good numbers. It's only been a couple of matches, so the fact that Fate and Killswitch are so far behind shouldn't ring any alarm bells. But the fact that you have Trick and Casper performing so well is really, really good. As you said, Execute started off this year, high expectations for this squad, and they've just been slowly fading away, and got to the point that yesterday we were just like, you know what? We're they're out of the conversation at this point, and then they step up. The timing, coincidental, right? I'm not going to try and make any sort of bit about, oh, Casper's kind of out, and then that's what they cut, whatever. But the fact that they're turning up at a point, they're making the decision, just throwing everything at the game, and just getting those numbers and just sort of waking themselves up in a way. I don't have any insight on what happened to allow for this increase in performance, But whatever it is, sometimes you just need to give yourself a slap across the face. Sometimes you give your teammate a slap across the face and just like, whatever we're doing is not working. Maybe we're thinking too much. Let's just like clear our head and just go at it. And that seems to be working so well for them so far.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think it's a little bit maybe too soon to say that Casper has made that big difference, even though he is currently putting those elimination points. I mean, we've seen what Tense has been able to do for this team in the past too. It's just 2 matches. The good thing with the way this team is currently set up in the group is that they are going to continue to play every single match right up until the last one, which is the one that they're going to be sitting out. So hopefully they can continue on carry that momentum, because right now they're averaging more than 11 points per match, which is great for this team considering where they were at the beginning of the day. But I think even though I don't really want to talk about this team, I think we have to, because of the way that we're able to perform there in the last match. And it's Hyper. I mean, at one point I was like, if Hyper wins this, that is just absolutely ridiculous considering where they were, considering all the teams that they had to fight, how they had to push up on the leaderboard too. So let's take a look at the Hyper player stats, because Cam, GK first, 6 eliminations. It's not Kindness anymore.
Dude, like Kindness is still a powerhouse player, right?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, do not sleep on GK first. He is always going to be there to get the frags, get the eliminations when it matters. The fact that he is just the 2 in the 1-2 punch of Kindness and GK first makes these guys an incredibly threatening team. And you don't even need Koi and Rin to be popping off as long as they are playing the more supporting roles, having their teammates' backs. These guys are just going to continue to be on a tear, and it really might just be GK First and Kindness trading MVP trophies from this point on.
Yeah, and a stat that we don't really get a chance to see here, but one that I kind of want to go back to. I was mentioning how Koi at the beginning, yesterday especially, he had, I think, was 4 minutes less average survival time than the rest of his squad. He's actually been able to switch it up, at least the first 2 games. He's currently averaging about 25 minutes, which is great. But then on the opposite side, I'm sorry, Rin, but Rin is currently sitting at 16 minutes, and he's way off the pace with what everybody else has been able to do. So, you know what? They could be testing out different things. I'm not going to hold it to Rin, but I'm just happy to see Koi being able to improve on that average survival time, and I'm hoping it kind of continues, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really been wins, but they've still been consistent podiums for Hyper at this point. You know, 412 Nomads looking good as well, but like that lead from Hyper is just continuing to grow, and it's very, very scary for anyone trying to catch up.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to if Hyper for some reason has 4 players alive at the end of a match towards a top 5 situation, more than likely we're gonna end up picking him. So let's see if that's gonna happen here in the next match as well, as Hodgix and Tute take it away.
Match number 3, here we go into Erangel. Man, I always love hearing the deaths. This is such a unique one too, because you know, Hyper is dominating this lobby more than we could possibly imagine. I love hearing, you know, Cameron and Seven try to figure out how we can nitpick, you know, Hyper's gameplay in any way. I mean, it's so crazy because I mean, they have been so dominant. Obviously, they're going to come to America, so I think we definitely need to, right? Because we want to see them do well there. And, you know, I think it's the first time where we're like, hey, you know, their survival time, you know, could do a lot better. And it could. It could. You know what I'm saying? But on every other angle, I mean, this squad is just, look at them. I mean, I think look at the top players. They have just been leading every stat. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is just... Like, honestly, I'm with Seven in the sense of what else would you complain about from it?
Right?
Like
Exactly.
literally they're playing aggressive, they're taking opportunities, they're good on rotations, they know how to close out games, they clutch up, they're doing everything. Literally everything. There's not a single thing that they can improve on, in my opinion, besides them needing a better lobby. Right? Like, that is it.
Oh, let's see how they're going to do with a better circle like this. Okay, all right, all the way up to the north side. That's going to make things interesting. Let's see how this goes. And you know what? We're going to criticize Hyper all day long, because I'll tell you what. Seven and I, for sure, are tired of getting bullied when we go to another event, you know, by the other talent, okay? You know what I'm saying? We're tired of getting told, where's the nade? Where are you guys at? Oh, look at that nade. That was a nice one there on the XTZ. Taking it out. So let's see exactly how this game is going to turn out here. As now we're finally on Erangel, where YKG is in the same lobby with Ed Hyper. And yeah, YKG going to Primorse, so no more hot drops for them, looks like, especially after how they've been playing. So going back to what, Joey said. Joey told Seven that he's going to go back to the tried and true, and it looks like that's what we're seeing. Is it working?
It's just, I think it's a little bit unlucky with the way things played out for YKG, because last week, right, all the momentum slowed down. So now coming into this week with N Hyper doing so well, they need to stop N Hyper. But, Fear's coming back in on the lineup, having not really playing as much last week. It just throws the groove off for YKG entirely. As Butterfly Effect getting cut in two, split up, but the other side does find a knock. So it's just, as I was saying, YKG, I think they're just in a tough situation.
100%. Yeah, let's see. How are they going to be able to wiggle their way out of it? That's always going to be the question, right? Because there's plenty of times in future tournaments, bigger tournaments, where you're going to be caught in a tough spot, right? How are you going to be able to bounce back? That's always going to be the question. PASSIONFRUIT, I'll tell you what, ain't bouncing back from this. They're going to have a tough time here. It's always difficult when you have yourself completely smoked out, all your sight lines gone. It's really, let's see what Juancho could do. I mean, he's got the angles, but he's only got a DBS. He doesn't have the weapons to do it. So, yeah. But Butterfly Effect are pretty light on ammunition as well. So I think they're saying, you know what, let's just not take this risk if we can afford it.
So PASSIONFRUITs do reset back up to 4 as well. So I think Butterfly Effect, knowing that PASSIONFRUIT got the reset, they don't want to risk the full push because they will be outnumbered. They're just going to back off. And with the circle being this far north, right? I know it's zone 1, but in a zone like this, if you get a good early rotation on, it could really pay off because so much of the circle is just not in play already. And there is like only a few key power positions on that north side of the map.
Let's see which position's going to end up getting taken after all. PASSIONFRUIT looking to make it out of there alive. They do find a vehicle, and the whole squad's going in it. So they are out of there. They got to be careful with their pathing. I love it. They're doing it pretty well so far. Yep, that's exactly the right path to make sure you don't get shot up on the way out.
Oh, but that car is parked a little bit in the open. I think Kubi knows, though. He hopped in there real quick.
Got him! That's how you do it. That is how you do it. So Nate opens things up. And let's see what the rest of the team is going to do in this situation. And Nate, he's going to go up, get that confirmation. That's the right play to do.
Yep.
Take off. I think take the money and run. Don't even push your luck. Just take it. Go ahead and, find another place. You're good.
Nate is so good with that, with the M14. It's just so quick. And just instant headshots, right? So just pow. Right in the head, double headshot maybe.
Pow pow.
And yeah, Nate. I think Kubi knew also because he hopped in it once, and then immediately hopped out.
A little hezzy.
Trying to bait out the shots, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna get it this time. I'm gonna hop in, and I'm gonna drive away, and then, bam,
pop, out of there." Yeah. Hate to see it. But I'll tell you what. You know what? Like, Nate is a monster player, by all means necessary. We've been talking about, this PASSIONFRUIT team, their roster, I think, as far as NA players go, is star-studded. I think every single one of these players have the gun skill to make, to pay the bills. It's just, building up that synergy now, And it's hard to do when you're going up against, teams that have been doing it for years, and then, when they hit the international level, together living in the same house for years. That's even harder. So, it's definitely a tall task. It's not an impossible one. I just want to see improvement every single day as we go with PASSIONFRUIT, right? I want to see them leave the lobby, have conversations, do those VOD reviews, figure out, okay, you know what, in this situation, we had a little bit of a miscommunication. What's a call out we could do to help fix that problem?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget, back when I was a player, this was back when, TV was in black and white. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll never forget one play in particular where a player jumped out of a window and I was using a SCAR with a 3X, right?
Okay.
And I happened to scope in with that SCAR and pan so perfectly that the thick side of the SCAR scope
Right.
covered the player entirely.
Jumping out the window. Right.
So, you know, I got knocked, and I got knocked in that position. One of my players got knocked. He was like, dude, how did you not call it out? You were looking directly in that position, you know?
Yeah.
And even I was like, I have no idea how I didn't see him. Well, thank goodness I was recording, right? And you're able to pull up, and then everybody, you know, the whole team at the same time were like, oh
see,
my
it's not my
gosh, because the scope was completely covered him. It was the most unlucky pan in the history of unlucky pans. You know what I'm saying? And just didn't see him. He was just blocked by that little edge of the scope. And I'll never forget that moment. I was like, I'm never using a 3X ever again on a Scar. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how crazy things can turn out. So, you know what? Let's see how PASSIONFRUIT, you know, getting a nice knock onto D here. Recognizing that they have the man advantage. Nice push there as well. And a nice cleanup. Oh! And this is on the butterfly effect. So here comes some BM as well.
Yeah, I don't know what they have against butterfly effect, but they chased them down. They
said,
good.
leave Yasnaya. I think that's what it was.
That was good. That was good for PASSIONFRUIT to follow it up, right? They got 2 openings way early on, and then they chased it down to confirm the rest. So good job for PASSIONFRUITs picking up those 4 points, and we're just in time too because we're about to head in the next circle shift. If they did it any later, they could get third party. And look at how close K19 is on that east side to PASSIONFRUIT. It's a good thing they finished it when they did, and that's a good circle shift for them as well if they want to play at that compound.
Yeah, timing is so huge, you know, and I think that's something that we don't really stress about enough. It's like sometimes you have to take that fight earlier rather than at the last second. Like top teams know, like, hey, you know what? We have to take this fight now. If we lose, we lose. But if we don't take this fight right now, we're gonna lose anyway. You know. So sometimes you got to recognize those decisions when you have no choice to but just risk it and push. That's this game. You know, there's not always gonna be a situation where you know you can take your time and cover each other perfectly. Sometimes you just got to be like, hey, we have to send it. Otherwise, we're gonna lose no matter what. So I love to see teams recognize that and really take the fight at the right time. That's what I want to see more of, at least here in NA.
Definitely gotta agree with you on that one. More teams now rotating into the circle here, getting closer to one another. We have Extreme Slayers next excuse up in Severny. I think they might just end up sharing the spot a little bit. Doesn't look like they're fully engaging, just like some nades back and forth. Maybe if one of them gets an opening, but even then, just based on the way the teams are split up, doesn't look like they want to take a full-out fight.
Yeah, they don't. Doesn't look like it. So let's see how you can see Excuse just kind of taking their time over here at Severny. This could be one of those moments too where it's best to just let another team
be
next to you. Yeah, be neighbors. Like Excuse is trying to push this onto, or Extreme Slayer is trying to push this onto Excuse, but this is too much real estate to hold by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's better to just hold off that side. You don't even have to look at each other. Just focus on either angle, cover each other's, and then when this next zone if it does close on, then you're like, all right, we're gonna handle each other in the late game. But that's just the nature of Battle Royale. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just can't hold this entire real estate to yourself.
And it is only zone 2, so it's not like you need to start kicking your neighbors out just yet. Still a lot of options, still a lot of real estate, like you mentioned, to play for. Rotate elsewhere as, Trick might be getting caught out on his own a little bit. The rest of the execute are close by, playing a big split. So you see that the rest of the team immediately mobilizing to help Trick out a little bit here.
They're taking too much time, though.
Yeah, Ace of Spades might be just funneling themselves into a trap, and, well, Binky Bay funnels himself into a nade by Trick.
Trick!
Oh, Trick with another one.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Trick is a game changer for Execute. Out of all the players I think we've seen so far, Trick has been the one that really has stood up and made those little micro plays that make the difference. And look at that. I mean, they're going to take out 3 players, and it's really just because of Trick, right? He hits a good nade, hits a good knock. I mean, all by his lonesome. And then now the drive up, the Ace of Spades gone, just like that.
Yeah, that was all Trick. Because you put a different player there, and if he gets knocked, if he doesn't stall, you know what happens? The rest of the Execute team, the other 3, they're like, oh, well, there's no reason to fight here now. They all leave, right? But Trick, he stalls, he gets the nade, now the rest of Execute are there to fight. Not only that, he gets the second one. So Trick doing a great job, like you mentioned.
Dude, Trick is a beast. beast of a player. Got to meet him over there in Saudi Arabia. He was so excited meeting his first LAN. You know, unfortunately, he wasn't able to stick with the squad of MEZEXIS, but he did find a new team. And you know what? If XQ doesn't do well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get picked up on another, because this dude can frag. Now, I did do some, I can't wait till we have the segment where we asked everybody questions, you know? Different ones about the game. Homie didn't get one right. You know what I'm saying? Homie didn't get one right. He was so off, it was crazy. And I remember talking to him after, and he was like, bro, I'm just here to frag. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a mindless drone ready to just take out everything I see. So I was like, I love to see it, though. You know, sometimes you got to have some of those players on your squad.
Yeah, I mean, players are gifted in different ways. If you're if you're able to just frag out, hey, who cares if you know how many shots are in a VSS without an extended mag? I don't know it. But if you can shoot someone and knock them out with it, that's all I care about, right? YKG coming in hot. Oh, right onto, once again,
no!
It's not, it can't be true. It's BOPE again.
Well, YKG, it's been fun. It's been fun watching you here. But by all intents and purposes, this is their ultimate kryptonite. You know, like they try to instill the fears into BOPE, but fears is not.
Ooh, the VSS.
Oh, let's go. All right, 24K. It's a knock like that. That'll definitely make
Fears
something
got finished though.
happen.
HH finished off one player of YKG, so they can't get that reset that they were hoping for.
Oh, goodness. Okay, nice knock there from Chico. Let's go, Chico. Pushing it up with the DBS. Now, he is all by himself, I think, for the most part. The rest of the team is a little far behind. Oh, but another knock from Joey. So, YKG finally getting the better of BOPE in the situation.
Yep. Things are starting to turn around for YKG, at least when it comes to fighting BOPE. Definitely getting a little bit of the revenge. You need to finish out the rest of the BOPE, though, to get that full revenge. Because that Sanok game, man, BOPE clowned on YKG. Didn't even give YKG a chance to fight. So they got to keep pushing it. I think that's what Joey's doing, or Joey's just moving a bit closer here. The circle is about to pop, too, so the team does need to get a move on.
Yes, they do. They need to get moving quicker rather than later. And let's see just how fast they are going to get moving.
Oh, what a zone shift.
Oh, what a zone shift indeed. All right, well, let's see. Now you got MEZEXIS in a big chilling spot. You got Execute up top, and you got Wall Street Bets with Hyper on the bottom. So anybody's game here at this point.
Yeah, and not a lot to play in here. There's some shacks left open. Just the one shack itself, you see those come into play all the time. And all the power positions are pretty much taken here. So we're going to see which team is able to fight their way in. And Hyper on that south, handling things pretty well, it seems.
Yes, they are. Yeah, you can see Wall Street Bets over here at the gas station. So this is the spot they're holding, but this is out of circle. So they're going to have to push their way in, and they know it. And meanwhile, Hyper is in a dangerous position here to gatekeep them. So I think Hyper is going to choose eliminations here, which I don't think is a bad choice. Just wait it out. There's nobody to their backs for the most part inside of the circle. I think they're going to, yeah, so they're going to send Rin to hold it off, and I think Koi is going to hold it for now and wait to put some shots on this team as they go in. Kindness gets a shot on a Chico. Goodness gracious. All the way downtown. That's going to be across the bridge. Yep. And he is a little beat up, but he's going to get that res. Uh-oh, Bomba says, you know what? Thank you, Kindness. We'll take that point all day long.
Yeah. Kindness doesn't need any more points. He already has
good.
He already has like a bajillion.
Oh my
nice
gosh.
Molly. That forces 24K to move a little bit.
He rotated.
The pan blocking some shots, but it runs back into the molly. Oh man, the teamwork, right? Ren's like, I missed the molly. His team is like, I got you. I'll shoot him back into your molly.
There you go.
I'm not gonna knock him. I'm gonna shoot him back into your molly. That's how good of a teammate I am.
You know what?
The teamwork.
That's a total different definition of the word push, right? Right. Don't worry, I'm a push him. You know what I'm saying? That is how you do it right there. Execute gonna take this.
I like this fight.
Warehouse right here. Yeah, and this is a solid position in the zone. This warehouse is so important because it's got so much vision.
9
eliminations?
eliminations?
Oh, wow. All right.
From Execute?
And guess who's got the most? It's Trick with 5. Trick does go in, though. It gets bopped with that S12K, but nice teamwork there from the rest of the squad. And Execute finally starting to show some signs of life right here. 12 eliminations. That's a dozen. Let's go, Execute.
All right, you know what, Jukes? I'm going to do what I did last time and just not think or talk about them because I think it's working. So I'm not gonna say any more.
Wow. That is what I'm talking about. Like a jealous ex-girlfriend. You can see execute, right? Say, give us attention, Zute. Give us attention.
I don't want to
Starting-
jinx them. I feel
Yeah,
like every time I start talking about them, things go bad. So I'm not gonna say any more than good job.
There we go. There we go, right? Just hit him with that K. Hit him with that K. Let's see if they're going to end up okay at the end of this match. I think they're already okay with 12, but I mean, they could still definitely finish even stronger with this position.
Way stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see where the zone is going to go here. Most of the major teams are out of the lobby as far as major threats on the top of the leaderboards, except for NHyper. NHyper's still in the mix. They are on the south side, though. Where is this zone going to go? Is it going to head up north? Is it going to head up south, center up? I know MEZEXIS wants it. Okay, right on top of MEZEXIS. So they are in a solid position. And NHyper is in a good spot to gatekeep a lot of teams on their way in.
Yeah, and all the teams on the south side don't look like a four-man team. And no other team on the south side has it fully controlled to engage NHyper head-on. There's going to be, you know, Bomba here, third party, K19. You got Super up there, so K19 won't be able to do much either. And I don't think anybody's going to do anything with look at that positioning from NHyper. Oh, my, yeah, you can't even leave the house.
Oh,
Imagine having 3 players and not even being able to leave the cover of a compound to push. Because
Unreal.
GK versus Knock, though. You might be able to do something off of that.
Let's see what the play is going to be. Meanwhile, you can see Koi trying to put some shots on the K19. How's he going to finish it off here? Oh, man, Tuki is just stuck right now. Yeah, K19 is just in a really, really, really bad spot.
They are pinned in.
Not looking good. Yeah,
I wonder
Koi,
how it feels like to be in that compound right now.
Oh,
Like,
it doesn't feel good.
No
I'll tell you that
matter-
right now.
no matter where you jiggle or move around, just bullets whizzing in instantly. And they don't miss. It's NHyper. They don't miss.
Even look
Oh,
in the
look at that.
slightest.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh. The pressure is ridiculous, you know? They
So
cannot.
I think this is
Yeah.
NHyper's downfall, though. Because
Okay.
they're pressuring so well, K19's not even going to try. They're just going to go out to the blue zone. But see, if NHyper were worse of shots, K19 would feel like they have a chance, and they would leave, and then NHyper would get the points. So that is NHyper's downfall. They're too good making them lose those points. You see what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I totally understand where you're coming. Yeah, K19 does not feel good right there. Let's see how the rest of these teams feel as Execute still up on top with a dozen eliminations. Starting to put some pressure onto MEZEXIS, and now you can see LOTUS looking downrange. Gonna put some shots on the NHyper. I mean, which team is gonna finally stop NHyper when they're in a position like this? That's the question.
We'll see. We'll see. Execute is in a good position, like you mentioned. The circle shifts hard north. Execute might be the ones to do it. Koi does go down to Execute, just as we say that. Casper gets that knock. Who's going to finish at top 2? Cameron going with MEZEXIS, chilling in the grandma house. I mean, that's a safe pick for top 3, honestly.
100%. 100%. Well, let's see. Let's see right now. PASSIONFRUIT does have the high ground, and it's Nate, the legend, with the mini. I'll tell you what, this guy is deadly with it. So definitely not a player you want to sleep on here in this position. Let's see how many points he's going to end up getting from this spot. Oh, bop, 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 bop. He takes those
Nate.
all day long.
Show me more. I love watching Nate with that mini. He's one of the few players that make it look good. And 7 bullets left, he could get another knock. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's
He
see
sure
it,
can.
Nate. Let's hit it. 7 shots in the chamber. That's at least 1 knock for Nate.
Come on, Nate. Let's see it.
Ooh.
Let's see the pressure.
Oh, the smoke's saving
The
Lotus.
smokes are so good, yeah. I mean, but
Yeah.
hey, that's what you got to do in those situations. When you don't have that cover, you got to make cover. Oh, Valak gets caught. I believe that was Valak getting caught, yeah. And then Casper catching GK first, so
Yeah.
Execute destroying NHyper, and they are gone. Execute with 16. This could be a new record.
Yeah, whoa, hold on. We didn't see it. But Execute swung from the north side around the backside of NHyper down south.
Uh-oh.
Like, I know we see a fight right here, but chat. Execute just swung from the north side of the zone down to the south side of the zone to get one over in Hyper, the best team in the lobby right now.
Unreal.
That blows my mind. I always complain about Execute trying to do too much, like being too fancy, but when it works, Jukes,
that's
they're gods.
To me, that's not too fancy. To me, that is the right play, right? In certain situations, you got to go and just wrap, try to take a team out.
When have you seen a team do that in the late game when they have the zone on the north side still to work with?
They didn't do it. They didn't do it with a crazy split. You know, they just used their teamwork. And look at that, taking out Nate. More points on the board for for Execute. 17 in total. That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it still blows my mind that they went from the north side, drove across the road, risking shots from multiple teams in the middle of the zone to swing onto the backside of Hyper for the game-winning. Well, I mean, it's yet to be seen. Is that the game-winning play? I mean, they have 18 elims. They still have to close it out. MEZEXIS still have 4 up at the compound with only 1 elimination. That's LOTUS trying to reset here. Killswitch taking some shots long range, and a beautiful trick!
Wow,
This man
trick.
Cannot be stopped.
Unreal. I'll tell you, this team's on fire, folks. This team is on fire, and he's going to soak him all these points. All these 1 nade. Is he going to thread the needle? It looks
Look good.
Oh,
what?
just off the mark. One more.
I thought I went in.
One more, Trick. Come on, one more. Oh, too far.
Oh,
Come on, Trick.
That was bad. Come on.
Trick, do better. Do better. How many eliminations do you have? 6? You need more. Right?
He could have taken his time.
He's got no vest. He's got no vest. Now, is that all his util?
Yeah, I think he should have taken his time with it just a little bit. Like, he's wide in the open right now.
Oh, he's got that pressure.
Yeah, he's wide in the open, right? And no one's shooting back. So I think he could have taken his time with it. But we'll see if he could manage to do something here still.
Oh, if he would have saved just one. If he would have
Exactly.
saved just one. Oh, and he gets knocked. Unreal. Unreal. Okay, now here comes the rest of his team to help him out. Kill switch. DBS in hand.
Oh, they got the first aid off, though.
God,
Doesn't matter.
He got the knock.
1v1.
Finish him off.
Hop on the picnic
Finish him
table.
off.
Oh, the molly. It's good. It takes damage. Oh, he runs back into it.
Kill switch, no way. No way you go down to this kill switch.
Don't. Come on.
Not
Don't
like
go.
this.
Don't
Do
go
not finish top 3. We all picked you. Great game from Execute. Great game from Execute. MEZEXIS in the top 3. So is LOTUS. Great job. Great job from MEZEXIS.
Hey, they went up to 5 eliminations. I was worried by the time the camera comes back to MEZEXIS, they would still be sitting at 1. So they were doing things when the camera wasn't on them.
Well,
they don't know where Onder is though.
Yeah, well, and that's the game. Beautifully done. What a chicken dinner there from MEZEXIS Esports. Wow, I mean, what a crazy performance, and what a wild game in general.
Yeah, I think that was Execute's way of shutting us up. They were like,
That's what you get for picking them, bro. That's what you get for picking them.
like-
Why would you pick them?
no, it's like you guys keep talking about us doing bad and stuff. Well, guess what? You predict us, we're gonna semi-throw your prediction by still getting 19 eliminations, but finishing in 4th because we don't want that top 3. MEZEXIS getting blessed at that grandma's house, just chilling the whole time. But Nate and Trick, of course, the 2 players up here on the match report.
Honestly, that's 2 players I wouldn't mind seeing on the same squad together. I'll tell you what.
Ooh.
You know, Trick is
Trick
a
and Nate?
monster player.
Okay.
Yeah, Trick and Nate as like a duo fragger pushing buildings. That would be nuts to watch in my eyes. You know what? If that does end up happening, I want my cut. I want my cut. All right, so crazy to see right there. You know, good to see a lot of Execute on the board as well. I can't wait to see what 7 has to say about that last match. So, little what, we're not gonna say anything more than that. We're gonna go to the highlights, and we'll be right back.
Wow. Okay, Execute. I've been kind of hyping you up a little bit today because of how you guys been performing. Even if you don't end up with top 3, even if you didn't end up winning that match, what a performance. Please pull up that match ranking, because the amount of villains that this team got, and I was really hoping that Trick and Killswitch would kind of work together there towards the end, because I felt like they could have actually won that match. 20 illness, 24 points total. Just wow.
Yeah, to get 20 elimination points and not even be top 3 is insane. I don't exactly recall what the record is for elimination points. It's not far from 20 if it's above it, and it's probably for the winning team. So, like, that's just such a strong performance, and that is exactly what we're talking about whenever we talk about confidence and momentum, because you don't make that send onto NHyper on the opposite side of the zone if you are not confident in your game style, if you don't know what works, what doesn't, if you're sort of having a bunch of middling games. When you are on your A level and you feel it and your team feels it, you just go for plays, you execute them, no pun intended, so much better. And like, yeah, MEZEXIS 16 points, LOTUS 12 as well. Yeah, it looks all nice, but execute, man. They were the stars of the show. They were the belle of the ball. They were the prom queen here.
Yeah, MEZEXIS was pretty much just sitting in that compound that they had. They were being fed that circle over and over again, and I'm so glad you mentioned it again, because Zute was able to kind of highlight it too. We didn't get a chance to see it, but that rotation that Execute did all the way north, wide rotation to the west, loop around, and then just take on the fight with NHyper, that just excels confidence for me. NHyper does still end up getting 6 eliminations because they are NHyper. 7 points total. Extreme Slayers there with a 6 point. And K19, you know what, K19, I'm not going to say how you felt when NHyper was just destroying you and just shooting you. Although, I think if you remember right, weren't you mad at K19 for something, Cam?
What? Oh, yes. Why would you deny points?
Yes.
To a team that is like eight places on the overall leaderboard ahead of you. That does nothing. Like, you're not denying from anyone who's going to be contested. Like, you're trying to, like, overtake. If they're trying to overtake NHyper, they have the priorities all over the place. But whatever. I'm also just looking at the fact that we're seeing so many 1s and 0s consistently because so many top teams are getting so many elimination points.
Yep.
Like, it feels the further we get into this phase, into this week, the 0s just, like, get thicker and thicker on the match leaderboards, which, I mean, it does speak to some inconsistency for teams, but it also speaks just like how top heavy it feels that this region is getting, which is good when it comes to delivering globally or even, you know, super regionally with the Americas region overall. And hopefully that means that the bottom teams will be able to learn and sort of catch up, and, you know, rising tides raises all ships, all that stuff, right? Because you learn from your losses and all that. But right now, I wouldn't be surprised when we saw the overall leaderboard, when we do see it, if there's going to be like a pretty big separation at multiple positions.
Yeah, and to be fair too, I feel like we have to give props, right? It's not just the 3 teams at the top that we saw in phase 1. It's not just continuing to be NHyper and YKG. We're starting to see some of the other teams too. Lotus is a team that's been kind of quiet here and there, but I mean, it's been about Execute. I feel like we need to showcase the Execute player stats from this last match, because they were just on one. I mean, Trick, Casper, also Fate, a player that I was wondering, please stay alive a little bit longer. He was able to at least get 4 elims, which is good for this team.
How am I 969 points of damage for 6 elims and 8 knocks? Am I misunderstanding these stats? My understanding is that it counts as a knockout when they get revived and you don't confirm the elimination. Getting 14 knocks, if you include the eliminations with that, with less than 1,000 damage, that just shows partly the positioning power of Execute. They're just picking off so many players at range, and, like, you know, they might be stealing some elims. They're, you know, other teams are helping them because of the open space, and they're able to have a lot of third-party fights. But you still have to be able to deliver on all of those shots and all of those ranged engagements in order to pick up all of these points. And just, man, once again, Execute numbers are looking so good right now.
Yeah, and I think we got to mention, I mean, at the end, you could see just Trick being extra confident with the way that he was just keep on fighting with the team. He could have waited, like Zute was saying, he could have waited. Nobody was shooting at him. He could have waited until that smoke just disappeared, start throwing those nades. But I want to see with the performance that Execute has been doing, I would love to see how the overall is currently looking, because I bet it's been a big change up, especially for this team, which I remember right. I think at the beginning of the day, they were sitting somewhere along the lines of 17th place, and right now they're in 4th place. That's one heck of a jump up.
Really good jump up. Oh man, Lotus I think is a little higher as well. I do remember Wall Street Bets. BOPE I think got a couple positions up. But yeah, this is actually looking, as far as positions on the leaderboard, very, very similar, if not the exact same, outside of Execute's just surge to the top. It's good that 412 Nomads are maintaining their position in second. It's good that MEZEXIS are maintaining their position in third. I think there's a little bit of a drop off from Extreme Slayers, but I have to note it. I know we're trying to look at other teams. This team isn't winning. They're not winning any of these matches, but they're still getting a whole bunch of points, and we have a giant separation. NHyper at the top. Second place is 24 points behind after 6/7 matches played.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you kind of mentioned there some like Lotus Esports, right? Yesterday they were in 7th place, they 6th place, but it's just if we really look into it, this team hasn't really given us like a big wow factor, but they're doing just the right amount of stuff to maintain themselves here within that first page. BOPE Esports continues to do the right amount of stuff, especially when they're running to YKG to whether it's pretty much ruin their game or at least feed them some millions, as we saw during the last match. But we even rewind a little bit more towards Sanok. I mean, they were able to ambush YKG and kind of ruin their day. MEZEXIS, that's a team that I would like to mention, because that's a team that has been able to jump up, and that's a team that's almost about to double their points too before they even go into the last match. I mean, they're being able to put up 61 points. Yesterday, they ended the day with 36 points. They are going to be sitting out this next match, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Vikendi. Yeah, I think going into Erangel, MEZEXIS might be able to take advantage of whatever the circle gives them, or if not, I would actually like to see them being a little bit more proactive as we're going towards the second page here of the overall.
Yeah, Canadian Eagles. Oh, they're a team I think that dropped off. They haven't had a good day at all. SLR as well. You kind of expect them to be around 9th place. I'm seeing a bit of a rise from PASSIONFRUIT Esports. The come up of Execute is sort of overshadowing the fact that PASSIONFRUIT, they're not looking amazing, but they're looking better than yesterday. We'll see how that trajectory goes. Again, previously they have had weeks that they've started poorly and ramped up over the week, so we'll see if that happens this time around. But YKG at 18. Bleh.
I know what Hot Jukes is thinking right now. YKG, come on, do it for us. It's phase 3. You're already going to be going to the finals. Start doing some hot drops. Right, Hot Jukes?
No!
Yes! Yes is the answer. All right? Come on. Come on. You know, come on. You've already made it. You got nothing to lose. Put some pressure on them. Do something. You know, because you're saying that, oh, we're going to do, you know, what we used to. Let's see what's fine. You know, Joey, I'm not making fun of you. But come on, bro. I mean, the thing is, that's not even working, Dute. That's not even working. So why not? Why not is my question. What do you guys think? Am I crazy here? I don't think I am, but you know what? You never know. You never know. Let's see what they can do here. Maybe they can just go ahead, blow me out the water, and then I'll never question them again.
I gotta go. I gotta go with Cameron. I think
Blah.
YKG's got more to worry about than NHyper
What?
PMGC points at this stage. I think in my mind that in their mind they're like, yeah, PMGC is not happening for us. So how are we gonna do in the finals of NA? How are we gonna do in Americas? Well, with how they're doing right now, trying to go back to what they know, they're going to be a laughingstock. So they need every single game they can right now to get back in form, to prep for the finals of NA and prep for Americas. Forget PMGC entirely at this point.
What?
is
No
what I'm
way!
thinking.
Honestly, that's the craziest take in my eyes. Because how?
No,
because
okay, so they need to get, if they start doing really well and get the points, then, you know, nearing the finals of, you know, NA, they might hot drop NHyper and stuff, like Joey said, right? But for them to constantly drop on NHyper now and then, you know, going out or trying to revert back to what they do and going out, it's just like neither thing is working, and they need to figure out what works in the long term. for when Americas comes around, when NA Finals comes around, and that's just trying to get back in form, in shape. That's what I think it is, honestly.
Never give up, never what? You know what I'm saying? You hear that sound? Never give up, never what? Go down swinging. You know what I'm saying? Go down at least with a fight. That's what I think. But you know what?
There is
Each
two ways
their
to
own.
look at it. There is definitely
there's
two ways to look at it.
But I just think it's just like, man, why not? Give it your all. Give it a chance. I mean, the road, just getting a ticket to the league stage is an unfathomable amount of money and an unfathomable level of experience that you can get as a squad. You're going to level up big time just for being in the league stage. To me, that's it. All or nothing. Who cares if you're the NA champ? I don't care. You know, I want to see a team actually make it all the way to the league stage, to the finals, and actually show an NA team at the top of the world, baby. That's what I want to see. But you know what? If I had to choose one right now, the way Hyper's playing, I mean, that's going to be the one.
Well, we'll see. We still got a few days left as Skills of Mine taking an early fight once again. This time, it's all down to Bomba and Crossfire. All Street Bets taking that one. Man, there's a lot of BM coming out today from teams.
Ooh, yes, there is.
Yeah, it's all that anger, all that angst being built up. Wall Street Bets make it out alive with 2, picking up 4 points. Circle, by the way, is very far north. We haven't seen this zone yet, and this zone could get interesting because the center of the zone is where that frozen river is. So we might see some bridge camps. We might see some players forced to play down there in the frozen river area. This could get quite interesting.
Okay, quite interesting indeed. All right, it's been a while since we've seen a good northern Vikendi finish. I think we saw one on the northeast side this tournament, at least one so far.
Yeah,
right?
the,
I think
the one
YKG
where
did well.
I think it was Juancho threw that
Yep.
insane nade for the chicken dinner win. Oh, that was the same
Yes.
one where Execute had 2 players eject out of the car while the other 2 in the same car kept
That's right.
driving off. That
Yep.
was the best bikini game we've ever seen.
that was. Hey, maybe we have a repeat here. Maybe we have a repeat. We've seen Execute get more eliminations. I think they probably outfragged the total eliminations that they've had so far this tournament. I'm kidding. Right? They did they did pretty well. I mean, that's crazy, right? To see them do so well, it was huge. I mean, they didn't get top 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm not bitter about that at all. But, you know, it's good to see them have some signs of life. Let's see how right now we're going to look at Speedfire and SLR go at it.
Yep. Instantly up the stairs, nade in hand, tosses it out. Biology forced to push up, their other 2 back. But Jimmy, try and go for another nade. They're not going to let you get another nade off. Get your gun out, Jimmy. Jimmy goes down. And SLR just taking this spot by brute force. And look at this. Clown already left. Or no.
Wow.
Wait. Actually, I don't know what happened, but I think they're about to not be in the lobby. That is what's about to happen.
Yep, that's what it looks like. Here comes Kai coming on down. Clown just having solid. Oh, he's done for. Yep. Excuse gonna take that and take it to the bank. Beautifully done for them.
That must be demoralizing. Like, you wait in between games that long, you finally hop into a game, it's Vikendi, and then you don't even get a chance to fight, and you're out. 4-1-2 against Butterfly Effect. 4-1-2 has been hot today, Jukes. Let's see if they could keep that fire going right here, and they are. 3 point opening it right up.
Here they go, and the Nomads, man, just look at these nades looking so good. This is an entirely different 4-1-2, right? I was talking about this before. I wanted to see some. Look at that, running into the fire, into the depths, and he's gonna go get knocked. But you know what? It don't matter. Here comes the rest of the squad. It's just Kubi up left. Uh-oh, he's got a DBS. Something to watch out for. Okay. Oh, that got a little, I think, too close for comfort.
Uh-oh, third party, Puppeteers, you know, they're good for it. Just some
Yes,
long-range
they are.
shots. Okay, they're not committing. Oh,
They should.
They should, but
They should. This is the easy compound to push. We just saw 4-1-2 finish them off like that. I mean, it's always difficult to hold those Yeah, I think no, Rise, go. Maybe he's gonna go pick up his teammate.
No, they were
Too
just
slow.
They were already too slow. By the time we had to question it, they were too slow, and they realized it. So it's good to see them realize that and fall back. I don't think they expected 4-1-2 to finish that fight so fast, right?
Yeah.
They finished it extremely fast, so just a second longer, and that Puppeteers team definitely probably would have third partied for that push. Second circle, yes, that is the second circle. The circle did shift. It just doesn't really look like it because it looks like the same one, but the circle did shift, and a lot of teams still not even close to making it into the zone. So we've already had the teams that wanted to fight. That's 3 of them down and out.
Wow, all right, let's see exactly how many are going to be out at the end of this here as we're starting to see no execute. All right, having to push all the way into this circle. They're most likely going to hit that edge and maybe even go to that hardship side. That's probably going to be the play. But the one team that is in that same kind of area is going to be YKG, so it's something they have to concern themselves with.
Now we might see an execute versus YKG fight shaping out here. Both teams coming in from the far west. And Hyper coming in from Winery, that's all the way down south, so they're going to be doing some southern rotations in. And I think they're going to all favor the western side of Bikini, right? A lot of the zone is more on the west side, so that bridge might not even come into play on the next circle shift. We'll see. And I don't think any more fights are going to happen, Jukes. That's a lot of fighting for Circle 1 that we already had.
I don't know, because remember we talked about it. The last time we saw this particular kind of zone, it was non-stop action. Remember that? It was like just heat from start to finish. So, I mean, you're right. I mean, typically we shouldn't see it. But just according to that one example, I mean, it's totally possible.
You could. It could. I'll give it another 30 seconds. If I don't see fighting, I think things are going to go back into that, you know, slow Bikini state. It always starts out hot, slows down, and then really ramps up. And it's looking like it's going to be one of those games.
Let's see exactly just how it's going to end up here as we're starting to see things, you know, just get a little quiet for a little bit here. But we are starting to see some rotations come on out. And the thing is that we shouldn't see the heat. We shouldn't see the craziness because it's Vikendi. There's so much coverage everywhere that teams should just kind of take a little breath, relax, look at the lay of the land, and then, you know, make some pushes from there. But who knows? I mean, we're starting to get into the later time of the day, and usually late day, we start seeing some pretty crazy pushes.
Yeah, YKG playing very aggressively, like gatekeeping-wise. They're like pushing all the way out to the blue zone edge to look for teams to push them away, and Joey finds a nice angle, trapping the Lotus team in. YKG, this is definitely a different style that I've seen. They usually fight from the edge in. Now they're just hard gatekeeping the edge and looking to stop anybody to be on this side of the zone.
Honestly, like, if I was in Joey's shoes or any of YKG, I'm screaming. I'm like, yo, we need to get these points. We need to make a miracle happen. Like, let's just never give up until our last breath. Like, and honestly, pushing edge teams, that's what they do best. So I think this is definitely a good play for them. Vishy gets the better of Fears, though. Man, Fears, after coming back from that break, he's just been not able to get started here.
Yeah, and the YKG team just does not look the same. Fears was knocked in a spot where the supporting sightline couldn't get there for at least another couple of seconds. So just the team synergy off by a lot compared to week 1 YKG. Oh, execute. I see Fate driving towards this way. I don't know if he hears the gunshots and is looking to third party. You see the rest of the execute team on that minimap. They're all starting to go out towards the edge. Maybe they might have an idea. We'll see in the next couple of seconds if that comes to fruition.
Let's see if that is what the play is going to be indeed. As we are looking out right now, you can see Onder holding the angle, Chico. Yeah, this is the 3-man left for YKG, and I mean, they're such in a bad spot. They need to soak up a whole bunch of points. But, man, it's just they can't get started. They just cannot get it going here. So they're going to rotate away. Probably not the bad play, to be honest.
Yeah, no, but the hunters are about to be hunted. YKG is about to be in for a rude awakening here with execute.
Uh-oh. Here they come. Yep. Oh, my goodness.
Wait a second.
What just happened?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Trick eliminating.
Casper's down, though.
Okay, he's down. Can Lotus get the better of Execute? The rest of the team needs to get there quick. Here they come in the vehicle, but I think that, oh, you know what? He is a little bit too separated, so he's just going to back off and wait for the team to get to him.
Yeah,
a bad play.
I don't think anyone was expecting Execute to be here, but man, that pull-up. I think they were pulling up thinking it was Lotus. That's why they got the knock so quickly. It just so happened to be Execute who just kind of snuck in there. But man, YKG. This is what I'm saying, okay? Like, if this is YKG not trying to do, stuff that they haven't done, this is what they're, like, what are they going to do in the finals? What are they going to do in Americas?
I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, to me, that looks like they're doing exactly what they've been doing, I didn't see anything there. Yeah.
They need to practice. Forget hot dropping. Forget PMGC. They need to practice again.
All right.
They got to use these matches as practice because that is looking abysmal out of YKG.
I see your point now. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we have not seen. I guess I'm just still stuck on
PMGC.
The glory days.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. PMGC is nice.
Yeah, it is nice. I guess I'm still stuck on their play style from the glory days, right? Seeing them just go and push teams and knock them all
shadow
out.
of their former selves right now.
But right now they just need to get back to that. I think that's more important. Once they do get back to that, I think we could definitely see them be a threat. But until then, right now,
I understand. You're like the father, right? The proud father that's just like, this can't be. Like, no, I know you guys could do better. I know you guys could just hot drop and win and punch your way to PMGC. And it's sadly just, I don't think that's the case anymore. I think they got more to worry about. And next circle, we're going to the west side. The bridges, the icy river, not going to come into play, unfortunately. But we do have like 4 teams on the east side. That can make for some interesting rotations in as K19 getting smacked in right with Canadian Eagles. Canadian Eagles, 3 knocked instantly. It's all up to Quinn, not a single player of K19 is down.
Wow, let's go. All right, K19 turning things up. Some Molotovs are out there. That makes things a little bit spicy, but they don't have to worry. They have to worry about Extreme Slayers. That's what they have to worry about. If Extreme Slayers hears this, a third party could come out, but they are a little bit too spread out. So I think it's definitely in their interest to get this fight done sooner rather than later, and then Skur knocks Trip. Are you kidding me?
That's
no bueno.
That's no bueno indeed. I think they'll get that revive. If Extreme Slayers was any bit closer, that could have been really bad. K19 trying to stall it out now for that revive, playing so cautious against the last member of Canadian Eagles. And for good reason. If one of them get knocked, if 2 of them get knocked, that third party might be coming in extremely quick. There we go. HH gets the nade in. It's done.
Nice. Okay, done. So they've cleared this out. They don't have to worry about this anymore. Let's see how they have to play it from here. So they have the east side. Well, they're all the way at the edge of the east. And this is still only stage 4, folks. Like, it's crazy to see, now that we're only stuck to 40 remaining, especially on Vikendi, because Vikendi, if you really play it carefully, you can move pretty easily through this map. You know what I'm saying? Just take a look at those sight lines, just checkpoint, just leapfrog little by little. There's so much coverage. But you know what? Sometimes, especially towards the late game in zones like this, it could tell to be a little bit more troublesome than not. Robert's going to go ahead and take this little shack for now. And you got, Puppeteer set up. And Hyper, guess where? On the high ground.
I'm not surprised to see that. I didn't even pay attention to N-Hyper at all this game because there's been so much action. But now that we do see N-Hyper, on the high ground, gets the knock onto Remix. I don't know if they have the angle long range to get that confirmation, though. But N-Hyper, I think they're just going to push. I see GK first, just pushing right in.
That's the play.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. N-Hyper just dominating right now. Next circle already about to come out so fast. Down south we go. Onto the side of Execute, Walsh Bets, and Hyper.
Okay. Well, let's see. I got Execute right there. I want to see Execute have a back-to-back performance really bad. That's what I want to see from them. I want to see them turn it up a notch, keep that heat continuing. And, the question is, which team is going to win the match? In this zone, I bet on Execute before, got burned. Not going to make that mistake again. I'm going in Hyper.
Yes, the tried and true, the safe pick. I also got to go with N-Hyper. They have 4 up. They're on high ground. They're in the zone. It's N-Hyper. Why not? Why not? If anyone's going to take it, it's going to be N-Hyper here. We'll see as the zone is still slowly churning in. Teams are being forced into certain engagements now. Extreme Slayers got that revive earlier, so they're back up to 4, and they're in the zone as well.
Give you guys a little bit of a, oh wait, never mind. A limb getting knocked there by Kindness. Very, very nice.
This guy doesn't miss.
This guy don't miss from long range. It's ridiculous. By the way, to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes, I mentioned about the possibility of picking Execute, and then Seven, messages me. He's like, "Hey man, don't forget, this is us Execute's last game of the day," and then picks in Hyper. So, all right, all of us, the desk, picking Ed Hyper to win this one. Let's see if they can pull it out. Meanwhile, we're gonna see K19 on the run with the blue zone to their back, gonna get shot up like crazy, but we do see them make it somewhat out. I don't know how Skur jumped out. Did Skur just jump out the vehicle? Maybe he thought it was gonna explode, but now he's in a tough spot.
No, Tuki's making it work though from deep inside the blue. Tuki never got in the car either. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I guess, hey, expect the unexpected because no one was watching the blue zone. Tuki got a knock. It's still not looking too good for K19 though. They're still not in the circle, even with the 2 players that drove in. I don't think they made it into the zone. Yeah, they're just right outside the finish line. They're about to get finished themselves.
Oh, yep. And look at this. Wow. And Hyper putting some work on that. Tuki going down to the play zone. Whoa, my gosh, Robert. Did he have those sightlines? He does.
Oh,
and finally gets the knock.
Yeah.
Sometimes you miss shots. It happens.
4-1-2. There's that full send YOLO rotation. I mean, he's last one up. That's all you can do at this point. And I think this whole time in Hyper is just chilling up there, shooting at everybody. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Just everyone taking punishment from N Hyper. Damage received from N Hyper. And then in less than 100 probably, once again.
I just feel that, like, N Hyper is just whistling. I just imagine them just, just having fun.
Yeah.
Just chilling, just being like, yeah, we got the high ground, no big deal. Don't even have to make call-outs to each other. Just everyone just doing what they do. Just securing the bag. Securing the bag. Now, they are on the edge of the circle. The zone does go to them,
Oh, please, come on.
So that's something that they definitely needed.
You know how there's, like, those new, like, custom maps in PUBG Mobile for, like, training your aim in different scenarios and stuff? I think this is in Hyper's version of that. They're just aim training at this point.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Kindness is just getting all the aim training he needs. Completely uncontested up there. Just because his teammates have such a nice buffer zone all around him. And I love how they do put Kindness in those positions. They all know Kindness has the best shots out of all 4 of them, even though all 4 of them are insane individually as well.
Unreal. Unreal. Let's see just how many points these guys are going to get at the end. As you can see, Extreme Slayers applying that pressure to SLR in this position.
Oh, that's
very, very nice. Oh, that is a good nade indeed. And let's just see Baby Bray get another one. And man, SLR is really in big trouble. But hey, there's 2 knocks on the side of Extreme Slayers. Remix is down. That's going to hurt. One big nade is what's going to really do it. Can he hit one more? That looks good.
Oh, cooked too long.
Oh, yeah, a little overcooked.
I think it would have definitely gotten like 2 right there. And here comes the oh, that's another good nade. But SLR finally deciding to push. They get one, and whoa, from downrange.
Chronix.
Okay. That's SLR out.
Chronix take that all day long there. Very nice. And now Chronix has his eyes locked here. I wouldn't even mind seeing if Excuse had a vehicle to do that push, but you know what? It's tough to do, and especially in a situation like this. So they're going to go ahead and just stick right where they're at. Yeah, I don't see any vehicles on their side. So they're just going to hold that position down, push up little by little. They got to worry about Supra there, as he is running a little snake in the grass right on top of that hill. And it looks like we are going to have that just north of Coal Mine finish. And Puppeteers are dead center in this map here. So we haven't heard from Puppeteers. I think we haven't talked about them a lot, right, in a while. So I think it's definitely their game in this position. They just it's a tough one. That house is not the best one to hold down. So they don't have a lot of sightlines on teams. The next zone does go on up, and it's a hard shift. So BOPE and Excuse are in big trouble.
And Hyper get the zone.
They needed it.
They're on the high ground too down there. So, oh man. Okay. Well, what are these other teams gonna do? That's the big question. 3 teams of 4 man. That's yeah. They could do a lot, but problem is they all have to fight each other right now. With N Hyper just as a 4-man team as well, just chilling up there, taking shots at everybody. Here comes the push. Puppeteers on the defense. One in each compound here. Got to know how to play correctly individually and stall for the teammates to get sightlines. BOPE forced to push in now.
And here comes the push indeed. Fuego. Gonna start off with some nice smokes. They're gonna need them all they can. Yeah, and I think vehicle is the way. But don't just full blind send, right? I think they have to push into the next fight, take the fight, and then just see what happens from there.
Comes the nades. Extreme Slayers trying to wrap around onto NHyper. Look at NHyper taking knocks onto BOPE while the other two focusing back onto Extreme Slayers. NHyper smartly backs off away from the initial barrage of nades. BOPE is getting cut down, sandwiched between Excuse and Puppeteers, plus NHyper on the high ground shooting down at them. That is a tough position to be in.
Oh, a super tough position indeed. So let's see how he's gonna hold it out. Ophelia needs to go ahead and try to get these shots down range. Oh, but he is completely stuck in his position. Kai trying to open up a fight up against NHyper. Oh, did he spot Rin there? Nope, he didn't. BOPE, yeah, just unable to overcome that zone shift. It was just too much to bear. So tough break for him. But, you know, you got Puppeteers, right? Still in a decent spot. Oh, Kai does catch the edge of Robert there.
Oh,
and
the
yep,
push.
on that, here comes the push.
I like that. Oh, it gets stuck. Stopped, though. GK first shooting,
Oh,
I believe, the
no.
driver out instantly. And now the Excuses push slow down to a crawl. Only 2 make it up there, as Puppeteer still has 4 at the compound. Now NHyper focusing onto the Puppeteer side. NHyper just shooting fish
Nice. Oh,
in
my
a barrel.
gosh. With grenades. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is just... It's just looking too good here. NHyper just doing NHyper things. Another point. There's one more. Where are the others? Do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, Puppeteer's down. Do-do-do-do-do. All right, I got the rock. Let me go ahead and just throw a nade. They're probably maybe around right here. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that was
pieced them up a little
very
bit.
close. Very close.
A little bit. Let's go ahead and just take out Baby Bray. Okay, Baby Bray's down. Let me throw a molly to get that confirmation. All right, that's a little short. Don't matter. He's knocked anyway. I'm not going to worry about that. Let me throw another one. Okay, I think that's about... Yep, I got him the first time. Good. Now, let's focus downhill. Let's take a look at Excuse here. Okay, did you get the nade on them? Yeah, I got everybody piecing up. They're probably half HP. Okay, I'll throw another one of that smoke just in case. Beautiful. GK first. I'll do the off angle. Let me throw some mollies into this. That should apply pressure. Yeah, it was perfectly placed. Okay, I'm going to get some shots through the smoke. Take down Kai. Very nice. Get the confirmation there. Other teammates got to be behind that rock, right? Yeah, got to be behind that rock. Piece them up with some nades. And, yeah, take him out. And then one player up left, right? Yeah, only one player. And chicken dinner. Good job, boys.
Well, they're done for the day. Time for them to go get a spa or something. You know, that was their last match.
Yeah, you guys want to get some burritos after this? You know, what are you thinking? Oh, I'm thinking, you know, maybe ramen. Sounds good.
Yeah. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like on their way out the door to go grab food while doing that, because 323 damage received, 2,684 done.
16 eliminations. 16 eliminations. Yeah, you know what? YKG? GG. You know? Or as Cameron likes to say, right? YKG, more like RIP. Goodness gracious. GK first, 7 eliminations, 800 damage. This team is just on another level. On another level here in North America.
So you were saying about PMGC points, and you see what I mean, Jukes?
That talk's over.
Yeah,
that talk's over.
It's not possible.
What was I even saying? I was just being a little silly goose. You know what I'm saying? I was just being a little silly goose. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
You know, just giving some LOLs, you know? So
I got it. Okay, because NHyper's so hot. I know we're so far out. I want to throw this question out right now, Jukes. In Americas, NHyper top 3? Do you think so? It's a different level.
I'm gonna say yes. I kept them out of my top 3 coming into this tournament because I wanted to see their ability
You
to
did?
clutch. Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to see their ability to clutch it out because you know what? And I'm gonna say this. This is league stage. They do this during league
Okay,
stage.
so there's still
right?
some potential area for NHyper to mess up on.
During
Right.
league stage, this is what they do, right?
Okay.
Come finals times towards the end is where they drop, and it frustrates the hell out of me. So future me, right? Please don't be wrong, right? Please let me just continue with this trend. Let's just see NHyper do this in the finals, do this in America, and we're good to go, right?
Okay.
Now, they are making pushes. They're being more aggressive than we've seen before, right? So we're seeing
Yeah.
something different. So that's the sign of life for me. So with how they're playing now, I have more hopes than I've ever had before. There's still that little itty bitty thing down in my gut that's just, just hoping that they don't do me dirty like they've done before.
Okay, so the finals. That's where they really, really prove themselves. Well,
For the money counts. That's where the money
true.
is,
that
right?
is
You got to
where
show up gotta show up in those 3 days. Like, Vampire Esports before would struggle during other tournaments, and then come PMWI finals, they would just soak up all the cheddar in those
That
3
is
days.
true. That is
No.
true. Man, this NHyper team, Jukes. I'm almost like, this might come off the wrong way, but it's like I'm kind of looking forward to them messing up in the finals, because it's kind of like,
Oh,
No, I don't mean it in the bad way. I just mean like, I want to see something different.
Yeah,
It's
me too.
getting stale, them dominating the lobby over and over. That's how
Well-
much they're doing it. I'm getting bored of it, Jukes.
Well, it's crazy to see. Let's, of course, take it to the highlights. We'll be right back, guys.
I'll tell you what, Sute, I'm not bored, okay? I want to continue to see NHyper dominate because everybody currently watching at home, I want you to use that hashtag PMPLNA on social media, and I want you to send us your best dominating memes. And hopefully, if you guys send some good ones that are appropriate to showcase here for on the stream, maybe we'll show some Friday because, I mean, they continue to dominate. Some people might say they get bored. I'm actually enjoying it because we've been wondering for the longest time, can we just have a team that stays consistent? Not just one face, not just two faces, throughout the three faces, and then on top of that, the finals. Put up that match ranking because, Cam, that was a dominant performance right there.
Yeah, listen, we're here to watch the best players of this game that we all love. We're not here to play the lottery where it's a new winner every single time. And NHyper, if you're not entertained by them, I don't know how else to convince you that to watch this event, because they are just constantly putting out good work, good effort. I will say about this match, we're back to normal. We're back to yesterday, guys. NHyper in the lead, strong points. That does mean though that I think that there is a bit more of a better points elimination spread, because so many rounds so far today, it's been, it's more than one, but it's still only 2 or 3 teams that are like soaking up so many of the elimination points. At least there's a little more trickle down happening this time around, but 16 elims for NHyper at the top.
Yeah, and I'm just so impressed at the way they're being able to position themselves. Yeah, they do end up getting the circles, but the way sometimes they even breach the circle to get the next circle favored to them, it's honestly impressive. And even I think it was GK first when he was able to just start taking down the players from Puppeteers. It seems so easy, but it was just so fluid that now I'm starting to think of Americas, because if this team for some reason doesn't make it to Americas, I'm gonna just absolutely throw a fit at how well. And to answer another Sute's question, can they make it a top 3 in Americas? Absolutely. With the way they're currently playing right now, I'm pretty sure a lot of those Brazilian teams are looking at them like, okay,
guys,
NHyper's a problem.
They got second last time. What do we all like? What do we think? That's a flash in the pan? They're only looking better right now. I mean, again, this is a different set. Like, there's a different skill level in this league compared to the overall Americas. Yeah, but I don't know. They're still looking really, really good for me. There's nothing really much to say about this.
Well, I think, Cam, I think that the main question within NHyper, right, coming into this season was they lost QZ, which was an amazing player. QZ's an amazing player, ended up going to to a different team. And then now in NA, we're wondering, okay, who's going to be able to take on that spot, right? And then at first, it started being Kindness, and then it moved on from Kindness to now we're starting to see GK First also become that fragger even more than we have seen in the past. So I felt like that was the big question mark for the team coming into the season.
Yeah. I mean, but they, like they said earlier, guys, like whenever we do have any sort of level of criticism onto NHyper, we're like trying to find something, one little flaw. It's like you're looking at a well-made dress. It's like, where is the thread out of place? And it's, we can find them maybe a little bit, but it's really hard to look for it.
Yeah, and if we have enough time, show me those player stats, because I want to see what GK First was able to do in that last match, because I was just impressed at how he was actually able to, I think single-handedly, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to go back and watch it, but single-handedly take on Puppeteers then when they were trying to push up on him. 842 damage, 7 ilms. Those are the stats that I want to continue to see GK First, okay? Every single match. I won't get bored of it. Keep it going. Every single match.
But like, if you look at the damage numbers, which the way that I model this game is that damage is actually the best way to identify a good player. Eliminations are good, but elimination comes more from team play. Damage comes from the individual first and foremost, and it's good damage for a bunch of these players. Even Rin isn't that far behind the pack, and it's rare to see like a perfectly even line on that stat as well. So like, it's not, as much as we love Kindness, as much as we love GK First, it is not strictly them leading the charge. Koi and Rin, they're fraggers as well.
And yeah, and the stuff that we were nitpicking, like whether it was Koi with the average survival time yesterday, where it was Rin yesterday. I mean, at the end of the day, those are valid points, because this team is going to be going to Americas. They need to start performing in every single match. Now, one team that I need them to perform here on this next Erangel is YKG, because in Hyper, you don't have to worry about them. So Hot Jukes, Sutin, maybe YKG win? Maybe?
Maybe. Okay, all right. Maybe is where I'm gonna leave it at right now, because honestly, I'm starting to get worried. Like, I hate to say it. You know what? Yes, I'm not gonna lose faith, baby. You know what I'm saying? For a second, I got caught, just thinking about it. But you know what? Let's go, YKG. I believe in you. I know that you can get this done. I know that you guys can clutch it up. Now is the time. You know why? Because NHyper's not here, baby. NHyper is not in this match. You don't got to worry about those most eliminations. 27 from GK First. Goodness gracious. Kindness 19. Wow. So you don't got to worry about none of that nonsense. Now is the time to shine.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of have to. If they can't get it done today, there's only 3 days left to kind of get back in the groove of things, and then they're straight into the finals. So they can end off today strong. It'll help them going into the next day, and there is going to be a little bit of a break of a day, so maybe that will help them out as well. But man, this YKG, a shadow of their former selves.
Ooh. Yeah, let's see if they can. If they end up with a nice chicken dinner here, man, that'll help out big time. That'll really just boost them and just give them a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So I would love to see them really bust that out here and now, because it would definitely be the cherry on top for them. So let's see if that is something that they could do, guys. Give up some hype in the chat. Don't give up on them just now, because I'll tell you what, YKG, they have the roster to make it happen. A couple good plays is all they need.
And not even YKG. There's some other teams that still have a couple days left, and they might be the team, that we really want to watch out for coming into NA finals. One team in particular, Extreme Slayers. I think they're just slowly progressing still. They haven't had the pop off, rise up moment just yet this week. So I'm looking for that coming into the last match of the day. And 4-1-2. They're doing good, right? Last game, they did pretty well as well. And it's just like, sure, it's not the 19 chicken dinner win they had yesterday, but they kept that going from yesterday. That's the big important thing. It was not a one-off thing. They've been giving difficult zones. We've been seeing them push together as a team. They won that 3v2 against NHyper at the very end, where no one got too jittery and peeked out too early and got knocked, right? So 4-1-2, also a team that I'm kind of cheering for. So it's not just YKG. the glory days of YKG, yes, I do wish it was back, but I'm seeing some nice things out of some other teams now that I'm also very excited for. And speaking about 412, already 1 point on board.
Let's go. Let's go. I'll tell you what, this 412 Nomads team, I'm so proud of them to see them develop. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what? You know, we need more competition here in North America. We need more threats, you know? And, you know, just like BOPE is a threat to YKG, you know? I think that 412 is a threat to this whole lobby. Because, I mean, we're starting to see them, after that huge chicken dinner, we're starting to see that ball roll for them. So they're just getting stronger and stronger. And I have a lot of faith that this team is just going to get better and better as time goes on.
I got a question for you, Jukes.
Give it to me.
What do you think about Passionfruit? Where have they been today?
Ooh.
Like,
I will say this. I don't think Passionfruit in this tournament has developed as much as 412 has. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
I think 412 has, you know, gelled a little bit stronger than Passionfruit has. I will say that, you know, I think that Passionfruit has more upside as a squad just because I know these guys' gun skill. I know that they can get it done, right?
Okay.
It's just
with Nate, Zuko, like veterans, right?
Veterans, you know, you got Juancho, right? These guys could definitely do it. You know, I even like Valak on the squad. I think I'm glad to see Valak back, you know? If this team could just focus on their communication and their positioning on working together, right?
Okay, yeah.
They are going to step it up big time. And it's like almost, for everybody watching, it's kind of like a cone. You know, it's really hard to get that synergy at the bottom. But as time goes on, it just gets wider and wider and easier, you know? It's easier to just grow. So all it takes is that one thing to click, to be like, oh, okay, all right. You know, when you push this, when you hold this angle, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to pre-fire for you so you can push up and get it done, you know? And that develops as time goes on. So just to give you guys an example, let's say, and this happens a lot. You know a lot about this too, Zute, right?
Yeah. What's that?
When an IGL calls a push, and he starts pushing, but the rest of the team hesitates or is a little bit too far behind, right? Us as casters and viewers think, why did that guy just push out by himself? Maybe that's not the case. Maybe he called the push, but the rest of the team hesitated. So when that happens, you got to have a VOD review. You got to look back and be like, hey guys, I called push here. You didn't push. Like, for example, here, I called push into this building. Miner pushed out just a little bit too far by himself. You know, maybe after this, you go into the comms and you're like, hey, how do we refuse from making this mistake again? You know, maybe the player behind, you got to say, hey, hold on a second, right? Don't go in the building just yet. You know, you got to come up with some kind of call to fix that problem because what was that? 5 feet? 5 feet too far apart? And just like that, one of your players is thirsty and you're stuck with 3 players for the rest of the match.
Yeah, it's definitely those very small things that really matter as the red dot. Illusion. This guy is a veteran as all. I think Illusion has been in the comp scene since we were comp players. If not, he came in just a little bit afterwards. But yeah, Illusion has been a player in the scene for a very long time as well. I think it is the same Illusion. There might be another Illusion that I'm getting it mixed up with. But that was a very nice red dot spray.
Yes, it was.
From long range. And yeah, the synergy, all of that really matters. I don't know if you recall, but in the last match on Bikini, right? When 412 was pushing the other team, and that one guy was holding in a corner with a DBS, right? And 412 pushed in. They pushed in right next to each other. There was not that, you know, half a second delay, which would have made a huge difference. So yeah, it really does matter. Every little thing, every little detail.
Yeah, you know what? I want to see teams be way more paranoid too. Like when you go into a building, if it feels open, you still pre-fire corners. You know, you still throw a nade in there just in case, because you just never know. You have to clear every single building. And Trip getting caught by Bob with a beautiful spot here. Hops out the window, gets on top of that ledge, and does bust down K19. That's gonna definitely buy his team a little bit of time to get some resets. HH24, he's got that S12K though. Trying to put it to work, and oh my gosh, the Canadian goes from the back.
HH just way too focused on the, honestly, in my opinion, the non-threat. He saw where that enemy player was, right? a little bit further away. If that guy was going to become a threat, you would hear the footsteps pushing in. Meanwhile, there's other footsteps way closer, and Canadian Eagles just overwhelmed them from the backside.
Beautifully done.
Then again, though,
Beautifully
Jukes,
done.
we can't hear it, but that might have not been a mistake on HH's part. It might have been a comms issue. Maybe people were shouting too much. Like,
That's
the
a
comms get
good
flooded,
point.
and you can't hear the footsteps, you know, coming in right behind you. So like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So it's hard for, you know, anyone to really say what the issue is with a certain team. But that circle shift, I tell you what, Jukes, is going to be an issue for a huge majority of these teams because we're heading all the way to the east.
Woo, and a lot of water in play too, so that's going to definitely reduce the amount of spots in here. I think we're going to see a lot of teams try to take that shoreline right there. That shoreline's actually a pretty good spot. There's a beautiful dip just on the east side of Lumberyard. That is huge, and I think we're seeing Extreme Slayers take that, so that's really big heads-up play. That's the spot I would take if I was in this circle. But, yeah, like you said, when it comes to K19, that play is a perfect example because, you know, that's one that you go back, you do some research, and you're like, hey, all right, you know, I didn't understand. I didn't see. I don't have eyes behind my head. I was focused on this player, right? So what can we? What kind of call out can we do to change this up, right? Who had vision on this player? Did he not call it out? Did he call it out and I didn't listen? You know, like you have to be able to have an open conversation with your teammates, and that is how you develop. You know, if you just think that we just got unlucky, then you're not going to develop in this team. You know. At all. Like you have to be able to figure out every little way that you can get better.
Yeah, and the top teams in the world, they look for mistakes that aren't even there, right? So what I mean by that is nitpicking. Like,
Yes.
you might have won the match, but what if the other team was a little bit better, right? What kind of small mistakes do you feel like you made? There's just so much going on in one game of PUBG Mobile, like especially since it being a battle royale. And it's like almost endless, the list of things to check off, to improve on, to work on, and etc.
Yeah, it's like chess, right? It's like chess. Like even the top players in the world, they'll win the game, but they'll look back and they'll be like, oh man, if I made a better move or if I would have moved my queen here 8 positions ago, I would have won so much easier. You know, I risked losing by not seeing that play, you know? So, yeah, you're right. Even in times where they do win, those players, they're saying, hey, you know what? You could have made this comm a little bit clearer. You could have pushed a little bit faster, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how you end up playing at the highest level. Because I'll tell you what, those teams at the top, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And you're going to need to level up to another level, especially if you're right here in North America. Because we in PMGC finals.
Speaking of about leveling up, though, it's getting close to that time, Jukes, where some of these teams are going to run out of time to level up because only the top 16 qualify to the finals in the next stage, and we only have a few days left. So it's getting to that time where the teams on the very bottom of the leaderboard, yeah, they could be trying to fix things and everything, but what they really need to do is start getting some points now. So it's going to start getting difficult for them as well. And boy, I have not seen the circle in such a long time, but I remember back in my comp days, this circle would happen all the time. Are you with me on this? I feel like
no, this prison circle is really common. So it's not like it's a
but I feel like we haven't seen this in years though. It's been a while.
We haven't seen it yet, a hot minute. I would love to see a prison finish, to be honest. That would be a nice battle. Remember, because I mean, especially, you know, if you were, for those of you guys out there that play classics, you know, this is a very common circle in the map. You know what I'm saying? So, but you're right. It's been a while since we've seen it comp-wise, so I'm looking to see which teams
I love
are looking to make those adjustments. Yeah, you look and see SLR. They're going to be chilling mid of prison, so they're hoping it goes right on them.
There's the trenches that come in play that had so much like dynamic value because it's like right down in a gully, but it's still so strong, and you have like the high ground all around it. You have Pride Rock involved, and you have the strong compounds on top of the hill. Yeah, this is going to be a really good circle to watch, and it's one we haven't seen yet in this tournament. So I really want to see how these teams play it out. And if Hyper was here, I would already know where they would be. But it's not in Hyper. It's Puppeteers on top of that hill right now. So we'll see what Puppeteers can do with that high ground if they can maintain and hold it.
That's one of those high grounds where a split really works out. You know what I'm saying? The
If
perfect
held
split.
correctly.
Yeah, if held correctly, that's a good
It's
one.
really
right?
hard. It's really hard
Yeah.
to hold.
It's not easy, but if you have the right team synergy and the right communication, you can definitely control so much of that high ground. So it looks like they're going to take the top of prison right here, using that big rock as an advantage. So let's see if they're able to hold it, just like the way we would see Hyper hold it. But that's, again, easier said rather than done. Let's take a look here at the rest of the teams. You got Wall Street Bets, one of the main teams that are outside of the circle, pushing in from the south. Looking at the rest of the team, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see YKG with only one person up here. That's tough.
Oh, yeah, we haven't even seen them on screen, and they're down to 1. I think it's, I think they need a day to, they definitely need a day to reset.
Yeah.
Today
They got to
has
have a
been-
conversation. They got to have somebody hype them up, put them into another mindset for sure.
Yeah. We'll see what they can do with 1. Meanwhile, 412 in a very good spot on that northwest. They're most likely going to end up using those trenches I was talking about. And with 412 playing so well, I want to see what they could do with those trenches. Next circle, slowly, ever so surely, the blue zone is closing and the next circle will pop out. And I'm surprised no one's really gotten into fights because I think everyone realizes how important of a zone this shift is going to, or this zone shift is going to be. And now they're going to want to use all 4 players to really fight for the positions they want to. Puppeteers, they have a lot of work ahead of them. There's going to be like 3 teams looking to take their position over.
Oh, yes, they are. And they're going to be coming in hot. So let's see if they're able to defend it. And right now, we're going to take a look at Speedfire on the rotation. Ooh, that US is starting to smoke up, so they got to be a little bit careful here. Are they going to do the pickup? No. They say, you know what? Forget you, man. You should have been in my vehicle a long time ago. They need to secure this
Just gonna
position.
keep going. Pedal to the
Yep.
metal.
Yep, run to that US and then catch up to us. We need to secure this spot first. And they do secure it. So they have the edge of the circle. I would have liked for them to push up just a little bit further, perhaps to that tree where Jimmy's running to. But maybe they say, you know what, let's pull up beforehand, run up to it. But if there was a team there, he's getting knocked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I don't know. It's little, we're talking about nitpicking, right? Little nitpicking. You know, it's little things like that you got to kind of like predict and make adjustments for.
Robert on top of the roof, hanging outside of the next zone. Apply as much pressure as he can to push everyone away when the blue zone does close in. So he's going to leave a little bit later. And he's going to be rewarded potentially. That 3x sensitivity, not high enough to follow that vehicle. And Jat G in the response, trying to look for that knock, getting up close, switches to the AK, the hip fire. Bop, DBS is just better.
DBS is just better. And that's one of those positions where, you know, hey, sometimes the push isn't necessarily best, you know? Sometimes it's better to just kind of hold back, put some shots, you know, rethink some things. But you know what? Each their own. PASSIONFRUIT holding it down right here, just north of Mansion. So they're going to have this spot very well held. Not having to worry about a thing for now. As the zone is going to start closing here in the next minute and a half. So let's see. Yeah, nice little finish on the MEZEXIS as well. So that was actually, yeah, SLR putting in some big work out of them. Oh, uh-oh, butterfly effect. And Speedfire. Speedfire stuck in the shack. They definitely have the disadvantage. Yeah, and they're gone.
Man, and that's such a, like, just terrible situation, right? You don't have anywhere to play in the zone, and you have 3 players up. There's a shack open. It's in the zone. It's hard cover. But you fall for the trap of going in there, and then another team just easily taking you out. It's a bait. It's a trap. Those shacks, they're not good for you. Even if it's in the zone, even if it's hard cover.
100%. It's always so difficult. It's always so difficult to figure out what the right play is in those particular situations. And yeah, that shack is definitely not the spot you want to hold. Let's see how BULUC CHABTAN's going to handle this against Extreme Slayers. Well, Extreme Slayers, I see them driving around. In my opinion, this is a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? I think they're trying to scout out just a little bit more than what they should, but you never know. Sometimes more information could help out, but it is risky. We can see some shots coming out from either way. Remix is trying to find out what the next position is. Are we going to have a prison finish? That's what I want to see. Come on. So go on to prison. Make it happen.
To the west.
To the west.
To the left.
To the west.
And nope.
It doesn't. Ouch. Okay.
This is still nice though, because that's a huge, giant sloping hill with some divots. So it may not look like there's anywhere to play in, but teams, I mean, when you're down to 1 left, 2 left, you'll find some spots in there. You'll make it happen. BULUC and Extreme Slayers doing some Fast and Furious out here in the cars, and now finally the guns are ringing out. And it looks like BULUC is getting the better of this. Robert in the backside, in the flank. He's got that nade primed and ready, and he's got to check his flank as well, because there is another team coming. Robert's got to get a move on. He gets naded. Ace of Spades steals it. And now Ace of Spades are coming in to swing this way to finish this fight out. Now BULUC having to fight Ace of Spades right after fighting Extreme Slayers.
Let's see what Baby Bray can do. Baby Bray gonna go ahead and throw that nade out. Gonna go try to get that.
So close.
Oh yeah, but he gets a nade in return. So that's his teammate down. Baby Bray just on the run, all by himself.
Run, baby, run.
Run, baby, run. And he's gonna be just right there underneath that rock.
Oh,
Not
run
a worry
over.
in the world.
Ace of Spades. Running 1 over. 2 up for BULUC. Ace of Spades. They're feeling it. They're gunning for it. Using the vehicles as bait for info. I like that. The
Okay.
rest of the team pushing in. Getting a little bit separated here. And oh.
Oh wow,
Out with the shotgun in hand.
Wow.
He was ready for it.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Meanwhile, oh wow, Poppy Sour puts some shots on the Ace of Spades, gets the confirmation, but he is going to get caught out there. So that is Ace of Spades. Nice heads-up play from them, and some solid eliminations as well. So Blinky Boy, right? Popping out 4 already. Good to see him start getting hot here, as they are the team with the most eliminations with 6 so far in this match.
Definitely feeling it. And
Let's
it's so unfortunate they lost that 1 player though, because if they still had 4 up from there, they could easily win the match. But down to 3 makes it so much more difficult. And PASSIONFRUIT Esports, they did well earlier in the zone previous, but this one just seems a little bit too hard for them to crack. Down to just BULUC, getting the revive onto Nate. And Juancho as well, potentially, but the blue zone is pressing on them.
Yes, it is. And let's see what BULUC's going to do. BULUC is trying to throw a nade, try to buy some time. Those smokes are giving him plenty of cover to breathe just a little bit. But PASSIONFRUIT's in big trouble. Oh my gosh. Butterfly effect with some huge shots. Definitely applying that pressure. Which team's going to have the most eliminations is the question. Oh man, let me think about it, because you got SLR there with only 2, but they're also SLR. I'm going to go with Ace. Ace of Spades with 6 so far, and I do think that, you know, they're starting to heat up a little bit and could definitely finish strong.
All right, I'm going to go with 412 actually. They have 4 up, and they're in a position where there's a lot of potential right there on that northwest side. If they can play it correctly and get, you know, at least if they don't get a hard eastern shift, that's workable. There's a chance for 412 to pick up a lot of eliminations as well. But man, Ace of Spades, that's a good spot for them. That's a good circle shift for them as well.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, so let's see if they're able to utilize it to the best of their ability. That's always going to be the question. Meanwhile, we're looking on over, you know, LOTUS are still in a pretty centralized position. How are they going to work it out, though? That's the question. As you can see, Canadian Eagles getting real close to the last player up from YKG.
Oh, 24K, still alive. 10th place if he goes out now, which is no points. He's got 2. Looking for 1 more. Quinn also crawling over. Oh, he spots him, and that's done. 24K is
Just
out.
like that, out of there. Let's see, as QWERTY. Uh-oh. Is he gonna make that play?
Oh, whipping!
Gets the shots. Oh, whiffs, and QWERTY going down. That's gotta hurt.
Oh, that was Whiff City right there. Yeah, you gotta hit those. You got to hit those. I think he shot off like 3, 4, but here comes 412, the team I was talking about. If they could play this out correctly, this could be a huge game for them. We already saw them with 19. Cameron in 7 thinks the same, but Gunpain goes down, and Thurston. Oh no,
Oh, that's gotta
Is
hurt.
is it too late to switch my pick?
Nope. Nope. Actually, yes, it is too late to switch. That's what you get. And let's see how this is going to end up turning out. Well, 4-1-2. Now, yeah, severely under pressure. You got Puppeteers looking straight at him. But they have been really popping off and getting out of these situations. They did lose that one player, so they were not able to get that res off. That's got to hurt. Let's see how the rest of the team handles it.
Oh, three-way party at the shack. Quinn goes down. So butterfly effect and excuse just hanging out together here. You always talk about sometimes you want to have neighbors. I guess this is what you're talking about. Now, no longer neighbors. Sorry, that was just too funny to see from me, Jukes. They were both hanging outside of the shack together, and Canadian Eagles pulls up and gets instantly destroyed. Here comes the rest of butterfly effect, though. Jason goes down. Chronix putting in work.
Wow, Chronix. Chronix has been a great player to go ahead and just pick up some nice little points for his squad. He does go down right there, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to excuse, that's the player I always look to see to soak up some nice points. And 4-1-2 is still alive, right?
Yeah,
and, you know, SLR, annoying Puppeteers, is going to give 4-1-2 a little breath of fresh air here. Dong going to throw out some smokes. I don't like those smokes. I think those are a little bit too defensive. They've completely eliminated his sight lines. And he's not able to help his teammates. So in those positions, I want to see him throw smokes much further downrange.
Ooh, SLR on the backside. So 4-1-2 just being sandwiched on all sides. Luckily for them, they catch a little bit of a break in the form of the circle shifting there. And Puppeteers and SLR, if those smokes go away, they could be shooting at each other. And 4-1-2 could stay alive if they could just keep their heads down long enough and survive the onslaught of nades.
Here, 4-1-2 just trying to hold it down. 3 eliminations so far. Trying to soak up some more. This is a tough one to hold down. There's so many teams at different angles, so you really have to watch your body positioning. If you just peek out a little bit too far to one side of a tree, you're going to go down.
There we go. Yeah, Long finding that one. Is Dong alive?
Which I get.
Dong is up. You think Long's going to knock Dong here?
Dong is always getting knocked by Long. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And but it looks like Blinky Bait's going to be the person to get a couple shots on the Dong. Meanwhile, Ace of Spades putting some work onto Mumbai. Actually, Mumbai putting some work onto them. Here they go on the push. Now looking to push.
That's
aggressive. I like this push.
That's fast.
I like this. It is aggressive, but you know what? Especially when you realize the team that you're going up against, this is the way to do it right here. And Blinky Bait might even just go for a run over. Nope, jumps out. Oh, Long, what are you doing, buddy? That is not the play. Instantly popped out.
Wow. I want to see more of that. What Ace of Spades just did. So many teams get that knock and they don't go aggressive. But that was a perfect way to go aggressive. The car for the bait and the follow-up on foot. Ace of Spades putting in work right now, Jukes. And they still have 3 up. They're going to be able to get that revive. They could win this match.
Let's see if they're going to be able to win this match indeed. Ace of Spades have that low ground, and Lotus is completely smoked out, so they have no sight lines. They could definitely win this match, especially with Dong up on top looking right at Lotus. So Lotus is pinched, and it could have... Oh, yep, here come the shots as Dong looking to soak up as many points as he can. Garrett, how did they not realize that there's still one player behind him? Dong says, I'm going to stick up... Oh, he's out of ammo? He's out of ammunition!
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought I thought he was completely out.
Yeah, but he's top 2 now. And the mini, if he could get this knock.
That was crazy. That was crazy to watch. Ace of Spades get the chicken dinner with 10 eliminations. Looking good.
Oh man, I should have stuck with Ace. That was my first pick, and then I changed it to 4-1-2 because I talked about them earlier. But Ace of Spades, man, that was very well done from Ace of Spades. That aggression at the very end caught me by surprise. I thought they would have just played it a little bit slower because they were in zone. They didn't have to push. They didn't have to swing like that. But that was the game-winning play, and they went for it. And 12 eliminations. Very well done.
Very well done from Ace of Spades. So a nice finish for them. I love to see some different teams putting up some points on the board. And Ace is one of those that they're that hot and cold team, right? They have some really good, solid games, and then they have some games where they go out really early. So it's good to see them finish strong right here. Drago, wow, Canadian Eagles. Most eliminations with 5 and the highest damage as well. So it's good to see him pop off.
Yeah, Drago has actually been kind of hanging in there as far as the, like, I think top damage goes for the first 3 games or so. So he's doing a lot of work for the Canadian Eagles, because overall as a team, I don't think the Canadian Eagles has really popped off, but Drago just doing as much as he can.
There you go, hitting that AOT pose. I see him, I see you, bro. All right, guys, well, you know what? That's going to be it for us. Of course, don't go anywhere. We got to hear, of course, how Seven and Cameron break it all down. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back.
What a surprise there from Aces Spades. I actually thought it was going to be 412 Nomads that was going to be taking that lead. But nonetheless, before we break this down, a special shout out to Monster Energy, our official energy drink partner. And Aces Spades, yeah, I was going to pick him, Cam. I was going to pick him. If you can pull up the match ranking, I decided to go 412 Nomads. I'm regretting my decision. And I'm pretty sure Sute is too.
Yeah. This part of the map is really hard to predict, I'll be honest. It's on a slant, it's a hill, it's got a couple of trees, but it is so flat that you really just have to go for maneuvers like you saw Ace of Spades do at the end, which is the very aggressive send. You really can't play around terrain and try and go for sort of like, you can't play chess. You got to play checkers. You just got to go for swings. You got to get those crossfires set up, because that's the only thing that's going to win you the game. And so 12 elimination points with the win. Ace of Spades coming out very, very well. But here were a lot of teams, a couple of which that like towards the bottom of the leaderboard, even though most of them were single digit point grab from this round, really well needed for teams like Puppeteers, like Canadian Eagles, like Butterfly Effect.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like right off the bat, Butterfly Effect with those 8 points. Before that, they only had 10 points. I'm glad that they're able to at least get something right. And with Canadian Eagles, I'm glad you mentioned it too, because it was Drago. I think we saw them there, with the most elements too for this match, which is good to see considering that this team had an awful day up to that point. For Total Nomads, I mean, I was kind of riding the wave that they've been able to provide for us with just surprising performances over and over again. They do end up with 6 points, but I kind of want to go towards the second page here, because now, all jokes aside, with what we've been saying about the PMGC points, obviously there's no way, at least in my mind, that YKG is going to be able to reach it. I've been kind of joking about the hot drops because of the entertainment factor, but at this point, 2 days in, there's no more excuses that the player that you wanted it to be here fierce is actually here, so you can't use that excuse anymore. And for YKG, I feel like with the day off that we're gonna have tomorrow coming in on Friday, I want to see the YKG from phase 1.
Yeah, there are a couple of teams that are gonna have to use this next day off as a way to have like a hard reset. Looking at PASSIONFRUIT as well, we were expecting that, you know, granted they sort of let us down where they didn't come out swinging on day 1, but then they're still, you know what, they still usually have a positive trajectory over the course of the week, and we saw a little bit of that today, but still not enough to make us think of what we saw from them in phase 2. So, and then that's not even to mention the lead that NHyper have. It's first to second place. We were looking at the, I don't know what the overalls look right now after that match, but just the lead that they have right now already is so extreme that this really is just becoming, this whole league is becoming NHyper and friends. Look at that.
Well,
how many?
You were wondering. There you go.
That's 42 points. 42-point lead over second place. 8 matches. That's over 5 points per game. That is a higher lead over second place than they had throughout the entirety of week 2. NHyper are only getting more dominant as we play through this season.
Which I am completely fine with that. NHyper, if you want to win this week by 120 points, if you want to outdo yourself, go for it. Because as I was reading chat during that last match, everybody was saying, okay, NHyper might actually win America. So NHyper is starting to give hope to NA. I just want to continue to see that consistency. And this is what I was talking about. Like, I'm happy that there is a team that's currently performing like this. I'm happy that it's not just happening in one day. It's not just happening in one phase. It's continuing to happen in now 2 phases. Obviously, we can't really put NHyper there in the phase 1. Even though they did perform well, they weren't that dominant team. So far, they have been the dominant team. And what I'm actually surprised at seeing here, if we keep going down the list, now we're starting to see some different names, right? Obviously, 412 NOMADS. This first 2 days of phase 3, they've been performing really, really well. MEZEXIS, somehow with the chicken dinners that they've been able to get, currently maintaining themselves there within the top. And we're starting to see teams, different teams there towards the top. And now we go towards the second page, and some teams that we're used to seeing there towards the top are now starting to find themselves here. And what I'm thinking about is Canadian Eagles, Ace of Spades too, even though they just got a chicken dinner.
Yeah. Ace of Spades, I could see being around this position, usually that like 8-12. Same with Canadian Eagles. I think they're a good team, so I wouldn't be surprised if they could sort of like make it up to like 6, let's say. But this isn't so far out of the range of expectation for them. It's K19 that I think should be a bit higher. It's definitely PASSIONFRUIT that I was hoping, can't say expect because they are still a new team, remember, but hoping to be higher. YKG, that has to be the big one. I know it feels like we're harping on them, but to go from first place in spring, first place in week 1 of fall, down to 18th place in phase 3, week 3 of fall. This is, I don't think we've seen such a dramatic drop.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. I'm with you. I don't think we have seen a dramatic drop like that, right? And I kind of mentioned it earlier. Phase 2, they had the excuse that one player was missing that they were used to. Isija had to come in. That's not the excuse now.
Yeah.
But they are going to have that day off. And I won't be writing them off until I see what they do maybe in the next couple of days, what they do on Friday and what they do on Saturday, because that's when you can see what champions are like, right? How they're able to bounce back when you are down. And right now, if we're going to be putting it in a nice way, YKG is down pretty bad, at least from what we've been able to see, all jokes aside. Maybe they'll be able to improve.
The problem is that they're not losing fights like in the mid game. The problem is that they don't even really get into the game itself. That's like where the real issue for me comes by. I don't like, if they were to have really good early game, good macros, they know where they need to position themselves, they know how to rotate, they can play around the zone, they can play around where the other teams are doing, but they just lose a gunfight. Like that's, it's still underperforming, but it's, you can understand that they're still in the game, right? It feels like they honestly, this is gonna be mean, sounds like it looks like they're just chickens with their heads cut off. They're just running around, doesn't really have, like, nothing's in sync anymore. And I don't know if it's the week break, the whole week break that we had, or I guess the 2-week break for Fears, but like some cord, some like connection between this team just broke. And I hope this next day is enough to fix it.
Yep.
But this is looking like a much bigger break than I think anyone would have expected.
I'm with you. You know what? Let me just change myself. I'm going to be hot jukes for a second. Joey, I believe in you, Joey. I think you're going to be able to bounce back out of this. I love when hot jukes does that, and I'm glad I finally got to do it. Now, Joey definitely didn't get MVP for today. I will be shocked, okay? Yesterday,
we know who it is.
We both said GK first. It wasn't. It was kindness. If today GK first is not MVP and it's got to be, I'm going to be salty.
It's got to be GK first. Like, come on. We all saw the numbers. We saw those stats. It's got to be.
Please show me who it is.
Just show it. We know it is. Like, there's no drum roll. There it is.
Yes. Let's go, baby. 2,600. I'm still in hot jukes mode. 2,600 damage, 14 eliminations. Look at that average survival time. You love to see it, and this is, from the play that we saw earlier in Vikendi too, what he was able to do to Puppeteers, even though he did get a little bit of help from his teammates. Just the way this man is playing right now is exactly what you want, especially for a team that's dominating the way they are.
Yeah, like over 600 points of damage per game. Like, what is that, 3.5 eliminations per game? This man's on fire.
Yeah, and now I wonder, like, how close is it between him and Kindness for like the overall MVP, because we do have a prize pool for that, so we'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, for everybody currently watching at home, make sure you use that hashtag PMPLNA. Don't forget, tweet at us your most dominant memes in regards to NHyper currently dominating. Don't forget to use the hashtag PMPLNA. And if it is appropriate, maybe we'll show it Friday. Please make it appropriate, because we definitely want to showcase some of you guys' posts on social media. Before we end the day, Cam, what can we say? I'm personally enjoying the dominance from NHyper.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see. It's so fun to watch. Even when they kind of do a crazy move,
Yeah.
they get, you know, what did Hot Jukes call it, a heat check? Even when that happens and they go out early, it's still fun to watch just because you know that the confidence is there and there's just like a sense of awe that you have to have while watching this team perform. So I'm excited to see them continue this. Let's see if they can't have an even greater lead at the end of phase 3 than they did in phase 2 and just really come in like the raid boss into the Americas Championship.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, you said everything I wanted to say about Ben Hyper. I'm not even going to mention them anymore. I'm going to mention a team that I didn't want to think about and I didn't want to mention because I didn't want to curse them, but they had such a good day. I feel like I have to. If not, it will be a dishonor for them. Execute. They had such a great day, and they played with such confidence, especially when they decided to take on Ben Hyper during that Erangel with the insane rotation from north to south, wide rotation to the west. Execute. Please, come Friday. Continue to do that. Continue to do that Saturday. Continue to do that Sunday, because I definitely want to see you in the finals, and you guys have the potential to do that, especially with Trick, what he's been able to do in Casper as well. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, we are going to be off tomorrow. We are going to be coming back Friday for the PMPL NA Fall Split. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm looking forward to seeing those social media posts. And thank you to production. Thank you to Hot Jukes, Sute, this man right here next to me, Cameron Davis. And we'll see you guys Friday.
There's no way he can get this.
Shots.
Money throws the grenade, but Bane comes in.
He does it! He does it! He